Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020, 7:44 p.m. How, does the FBI find people? The people misspelled P-E-O-O-P-O-N.
I object.
Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
What more? Because he's the guy.
All right, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Let's see, that's the wrong window. Let's try this again. All right, I have no idea who is first in chat. I have no idea who is first in chat. I'm sorry. I looked. It was too late. Let's see. I think it's Fire Girl. I think it's Fire Girl handmade by Wendy. That's not right. That's right. Oh, here I am. Sorry, guys. I'm back. Sorry. I apologize. Let's let the music die off here for a second. I apologize for being a little bit late, but I was fighting with the post office, trying to get them to release my packages to me, which apparently they learn their customers' names. It's not just, I mean, they always say, what's your box number? And I tell them what it is, and then they give me the packages and stuff. But they're like, these ones aren't for you. These ones aren't for you. This is to a different name. I'm like, oh yeah, that's for me too. It's just somebody thought they'd be funny, Amber. Somebody thought they'd be funny and change the name of what's on the packages. And they're like, well, did you change your name? Hang on. Speaking of, look who's calling. Hi, Amber. How you doing? Hang on. It's not connecting here. Let me try this again. Are you there? Wait for it. I don't know why it's not letting me hear you. One more time. Amber? I can hear you on the phone, but I can't hear you on the device. Okay, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Hang on. Got to turn on Bluetooth. Amber, don't go anywhere. Hang on.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear you now. It's working. Never mind. Okay. I was telling you I was late back because I was at the post office trying to pick up my packages, and they wouldn't release them because they were to a different person. The address was right. It was my box. But somebody had was it a typo, Amber? Is that what it was? You just fat fingered my name. So I'm like, oh no, those are for me. They're like, so did you change your name? I'm like, no, I'm still a Recovery Addict. These aren't to Recovery Addict. I'm like, I know. She told me there'd be some packages and it would be funny because they changed them. So let me just take a look here because I did manage to talk them out of the packages eventually.
Did they not give them to you?
I almost had to call you because they're like, well, what should it say? Who is it to? I had to verify. Like, I don't know what it says. It says, Boss Big Dill. So the post office workers are like, so you're telling me you're Boss Big Dill? And of course, they don't know that we're talking about Pickles here. So it's like, yeah, you sort of had to be there to understand. But Boss Big Dill. Amber, just Recovery Addict works in the future. Just put a regular note on it. It'll be good. But I did tell you I would wait and open these. Is there one I should open before the other?
Well, there's only one in one of those.
This is a small one. There's only one box.
Okay, open the one that has less in it.
Okay, first, Fire Girl, handmade by Wendy. You're the internet owners today. Elon Musk may be calling you. I'm just saying he's been having some issues today. If you could get him sorted out and the rest of us, that would be great. Appreciate that. Okay, so
no adult content warning needed. No.
Thank you. Okay, the other one. It's a humidifier. You sent me a humidifier.
Did you see what I sent this to you for inspiration.
It looks like a toilet. It's seat down, seat up. Are these connected in some way?
So when the seat is up, that's when the steam is going to come out from the toilet.
Oh, steam. Okay, right.
Like a bidet for your unfinished bathroom.
I got a USB-C toilet in the mail today.
It's only going to get better, I promise.
Oh, wow. There's a lot in here. This one just along the side just says pull my finger. Tells 15 dad jokes. You pull the finger and it tells a dad joke. Nice. I think. This is all for my birthday. This is awesome.
Yes.
Which isn't until the 24th, by the way. Finger yoga. Bend, stretch, and relax.
For when we do court yoga.
It's a pair of pants for your fingers. They're like little Lulumons.
You also have yoga blocks, too. You're going to have to do a reading of the books that come with these. They're great, too.
UFO cow abduction with light and sound. I'm not sure if you were working off the same wish list that I had built, Amber. This is different.
It was the only cow thing I could figure that was relevant.
And last but not least, we have Daily Dad Jokes 2025. Hey! A year of punny fun. Now, this I like, Amber, as opposed to the other stuff. This I like. I'm excited. What I'm most excited about is...
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Day one...
Shame on you, sir.
Day one, I get to read like a month and a half of 2 months worth of jokes. And then it's going to be like a slow year after that.
But you have your pull my finger just, to get us through the interim.
I can only use that 15 times before it's like, yeah, we heard that. It's like Fort Knox trying to get
I told you it was all kid friendly.
Well, you think. Let's see where the jokes go. You never know. Sometimes.
I made sure, look, the advertising was family friendly.
Oh, it's got a little stand on the back. This is good. That's what I need fingernails. Oh. I'm going to use the knife. Oh, got some pages. That's right. All right.
For everyone asking, Scott's birthday isn't until the end of the month, but I set the stuff early.
I might be breaking.
Because because some things he needs to use daily.
Oh, it snapped, but I think it's the good snap. Okay, I'm going to just set that up there. A year of punny fun. Oh, here's the problem, though. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, whoops! I just tore the top. I guess you're supposed to tear the top. Nope, that's not. That's not it. I broke it, Amber. Day one, I broke it. The flamingo won the race. You could say he had a leg up.
Are we going to adjust subject matter jurisdiction?
Okay. All right. Amber, I'm going to open these and look at them a little bit closer later. In the meantime, we're going to jump to court and watch a little bit of Judge Chisholm's courtroom.
Happy birthday! I'm hanging up now.
Thank you, Amber. We'll see you. Thank you. Bye. All right, we're going to jump to court, and I'm going to find the proper receptacle for some of these items. Here we go. Let's see what's going on.
The court does not see Ms. Tyus in the array.
You look good.
So let's check on Ms. Cook and see if she's made herself safe.
She was driving previously.
Okay. Ms. Cook, your car is stationary?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Cook, welcome to the 44th District Court. Today's the date and time set for your informal hearing. The citation before the court is civil in nature. It suggests that on December 16th of last year at 12 minutes past 8 in the morning, you were operating a 2025 Chevrolet, black in color, on Stevenson Highway, southbound at or near 4th Street in the city of Royal Oak. And at that place and time, you exceeded the posted speed limit by a minimum of 1 to a maximum of 5 miles over.
1 to 5?
Officer Carr's remark, which appears on your ticket, indicates 57 in a 35, which would be a 22 mile per hour margin of speed. But he wrote this at the time for 1 to 5 over. Regardless, Ms. Cook, you have 3 options. You may admit responsibility in this matter. You may admit and explain your circumstances, or you may deny responsibility, will swear parties, and take testimony. What would you like the court to do for you today?
I don't know. I really don't even care. At this point, I'm just trying to get my baby from school.
All right. So, Miss Cook, today is your day in court. You can admit responsibility, you can admit and explain, or you have every right to deny responsibility. We will swear the parties and take testimony. It's entirely up to you.
But you do have to choose.
What is the points? How many points you get?
The court's not here to dicker with.
Okay, I don't know how that works. That's why I'm asking. Like, if I just pay the ticket, how many points do I get? I don't know how that goes. That's why I'm asking the question.
This is 1 to 5 over. Is this limited access speed or surface street, Officer Kerr?
Surface street, Your Honor.
All right, so this would be 1 point and a $130 fine.
I don't want no points on my license. I just paid for the driving class. It don't matter. I guess I'll admit and pay the ticket, but I'm not working, so I'll have to pay it whenever I get the money.
Well, Ms. Cook, the court's not trying to be difficult with you. And in fact, the court's trying to do everything it possibly can to make sure that you enjoy each and every right that you are entitled to with respect to your informal hearing. So do you wish to admit and explain, or deny responsibility?
Admit and explain, I guess. I don't.
All right, so you're admitting that you were operating a motor vehicle in the city of Royal Oak that date and time and exceeded the posted speed by at least 1 mile over, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. The court appreciates and accepts your plea.
He's like,
what would you like the court to know?
That somebody cut me off, and I sped up around them and cut them back off.
Oh,
I'm sorry, say that again?
What?
Someone was driving, and they cut me off because the person in front of them had slammed on their brakes because the light, I guess, was about to turn yellow. And in the midst of them slamming on their brakes, I went around them and sped up and cut them back off.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Officer Carr, anything on your part?
I do not have anything to add, no.
Very well.
Including other
Ms. Cook,
citation
the court's going to assess the fine of $130 that is payable through the court's pay portal, or you may walk a cash check or charge into this court, 400 East 11 Mile Road, Monday through Friday, between 8:30 and 4:30. That's due within 14 days. That completes your hearing. Good luck to you.
Okay, if I don't pay it in the 14 days, then what happens?
I would call the clerk. I would call the traffic clerk at this court and see if they might grant you an extension. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I know I'm not paying it in the...
What? This just barely happened.
I believe you are well and truly done, Officer Carr.
I am. Thank you. Officer Chandler's here.
You bet.
Well, I know I'm not paying it. Click.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
She'll be back. She'll be back with a different charge.
Good afternoon. If you can see and hear the court, please give the court a thumbs up. Thank you all very much. Welcome to the 44th District Court. I'm Magistrate William Urich. I'll be presiding over the traffic docket that is soon to follow. Just a programming note, Mr. Jackson, unless your headgear today is a religious covering, could you please remove your hat during the balance of the court proceedings? Thank you very much. Folks, these are informal hearings of a civil nature. They are not criminal. Nobody's going to jail today on their traffic ticket. But it's considered serious enough that Officer Chandler did issue the citation on the date in question. As the party requesting this hearing, you will be required to make a selection from one of three distinct options to protect your rights. You may, if you wish, simply admit responsibility to the citation. The court will attach the scheduled fine and that will close your case. You may also, if you wish, admit responsibility, but with an explanation you believe mitigates your circumstances. Your third option is to deny responsibility. That is your right and your privilege. If you do so, the court swears the parties under oath. The officer testifies first. They have the burden of proof. It's then your turn to tell the court what you want the court to know. Then the court makes a finding of responsible or not responsible based upon the civil burden of proof, which is a mere preponderance of the evidence known as the featherweight test. So we are not in criminal court requiring a mighty burden of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt to be found. We are in civil court where the standard of proof is 50.1%. With that said, the court's going to excuse you back to the waiting room. Please have your selection for your hearing ready at the time you are retrieved, and we will be with you one at a time. Thank you.
Mr. Dombrowski is the only one who seems to be taking this one seriously.
Court calls case number 24, RO 09266. This is People of the City of Royal Oak versus Heather Blair Gale. That's you?
Yes.
Ms. Gale, you were present a minute ago when the court explained the informal hearing process, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you understood the court instruct that you must select from one of three options related to your rights, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Gale. The citation before the court was issued last December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. It is said that on that date, at about 7 minutes of 5 in the afternoon, you were operating a 2021 Volkswagen, black in color on 3rd Street, at or near Main, in the city of Royal Oak. And at that place and time, your plate was found to have expired on your birthday last September. So you may admit responsibility in this matter. You can admit and explain, which could include you displaying an updated certificate for your vehicle, or you may deny responsibility. The court will swear the parties in. We will take testimony. What would you like the court to do for you today?
I would like to admit, and I also have an explanation that I would like to apologize to you and And
All right, we'll just take it in two pieces because we are making a record. So you're confirming you were driving last December 7th in the city of Royal Oak,
yes,
and your plate was expired from last September 3rd, correct?
correct. Yes.
Okay. What would you like the court to know?
I made a mistake. I'm very sorry. It was not intentional. I renewed my driver's license in September and must have missed a click on the website. I'm so sorry. I went home that night and did renew my registration, so it is up to date now. I do have the updated stickers on my plates. And so I would just want to apologize. It was not intentional at all.
Do you perhaps have a copy of your registration handy?
I don't. I didn't know that I needed that. I can run out to a parking lot.
How far away is your vehicle?
3 floors down and in the back.
Okay. If you, and the registration's in the vehicle.
I can take a picture of the plate. I think the registration's in the vehicle. I'm not 100% positive.
Okay.
I'm quite sure.
Well, one of those two, and don't do anything that's going to cause you an injury, but go ahead and get that taken care of.
I will be right back.
The court will stand by. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll see her again. It's a pretty view from the window. See the skyline out there? Oh, by standing by, we're not gonna take another case. We're just gonna sit here while she goes down 3 floors out to the parking lot and looks through her glove box. Ain't nobody got time for that. Let's fast forward a little bit. Oh, she's back. Okay. She shows her registration, which I'm not going to show. She shows a picture of her license plate with the sticker and
3 flights of stairs to the parking lot. You take care of yourself.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
The toilet does not smell good, Amber.
Court calls case number 25 RO 00567. This is people of the city of Royal Oak versus Adam Dombrowski. That's you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dombrowski, you were present a few minutes ago when the court explained the informal hearing process. True?
Yes.
So you understood the court instruct you must select from one of 3 options to protect your rights, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Dombrowski. The citation before the court was issued January 27 this year at 3 minutes of 11 in the morning. You were operating a 2023 Chevrolet, white in color, on Woodward Avenue, M1, at or near 13 Mile Road in the city of Royal Oak. And at that place and time, you failed to stop in the assured clear distance ahead and made contact with a second vehicle. I.e., this is generally referred to as rear-ending. Officer Chandler's remark, which appears on your ticket, indicates Unit 2 is northbound on Woodward, was going to turn east onto 13 Mile Road, rear-ended by Unit 1, which appears to have been you. So you have 3 options in this regard, Mr. Dombrowski. You may admit responsibility, you can admit and explain, or you may deny responsibility, will swear the parties and take testimony. What would you like the court to do for you?
I'd like to admit responsibility and explain.
Very well. So you're confirming to the court that on the date in question, you were operating a motor vehicle in the city of Royal Oak, and at that place and time, you failed to stop in the assured clear distance ahead and made contact with a second vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. The court appreciates and accepts your plea. What would you like the court to know?
First, I want to say thank you for listening to me this afternoon. It, like you said, took place turning right, going a couple miles an hour. The girl started going, and then she stopped right away, and I was going slowly, and just I hit her taillight. There was no other damage to her car. The fix of the taillight is the same cost of this ticket. It's the first time that I've hit anybody, and such a little accident that my car has no damage or anything to fix on my car. And I'm asking that to have the ticket dismissed along with the point that comes with the ticket. I've had a string of bad luck this beginning of this year, and just tight with money.
He broke a mirror.
Okay. The court appreciates your candor more than you may know. You weren't injured, neither was the other party, apparently. Is that right, Mr. Dombrowski?
That's correct. Yep.
Officer Chandler, what do you like to share?
Your Honor, there was some minor damage. I'd like to make a motion to amend the ticket to impeding.
Very well. Mr. Dombrowski, the officer is making a motion to amend to impeding traffic, which is a 0-point violation, will not appear on your master driving record as a moving violation. Do you understand?
Okay.
So there is an accident fee involved. What the court's going to do is your total fine, and again, it's inclusive of 0 point, is $220. That is payable through the pay portal on the court's website, or you may walk a cash check or charge into this court 400 East 11 Mile Road, Monday through Friday, between 8:30 and 4:30. The court will mark that out due in 28 days. That completes your hearing. Always, and the court understands your circumstances in terms of, hey, somebody stopped. But it is as close to a strict liability situation under statute as possible, that you are responsible for the space ahead of your car. And if that space becomes zero space, i.e. you're making contact with another vehicle, there are almost no circumstances under which that driver is not seen at fault. But you did well today. Take care.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Not bad. Amber, I got a yoga mat with the yoga blocks, and the yoga pants are like size small. I'm not sure my fingers will fit in there. I hope they're actually Lululemon brand, because they will stretch. Man, will they stretch. But I'm going to save these.
Calling case number 25, RO00834. This is People versus Damon LaFrance Jackson. That's you, sir?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, is your car in park?
Yes.
Okay. You might be surprised sometimes how people would like to do their hearing while their car is rolling.
Yeah, I'm at work, so.
Okay, all right, cool. Mr. Jackson, you were present a minute ago when the court explained the informal hearing process, true?
Yes.
So you understood the court instruct you must select from one of three options to protect your rights, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, the citation before the court was issued February 11 this year at 10 minutes of 9 in the morning. You were operating a 2018 Chevrolet white in color on Main Street at or near Pingree in the city of Royal Oak. And at that place and time, you exceeded the posted speed limit by a minimum of 1 to a maximum of 5 miles over. Officer Chandler's remark, which appears on your ticket, indicates a larger margin of speed, but what the officer did that day was write this for a simple 1 to 5 over. Regardless, Mr. Jackson, you may admit responsibility in this matter. You may admit and explain, or you have every right to deny responsibility. The court will swear the parties and we will take testimony. What would you like the court to do for you?
Deny.
Very well. Please raise your right hands, gentlemen.
Deny.
You both solemnly swear the testimony you shall give before this court shall be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you very much. The officer has the burden of proof, Mr. Jackson. Then it's your turn, Officer Chandler.
Your Honor, at approximately 8:45 in the morning on February 11th of this year, 2025, I was on patrol traveling southbound on Main at or near Pingree. I observed a white Chevy Cruze with a distinct black bumper, front bumper, traveling northbound on Main near Pingree at a high rate of speed. I activated my moving front-facing opposite direction radar, received a reading of 50 in a 25. I waited for traffic to clear, made a U-turn, and started following the vehicle. I got caught at the light at Farnham, had to wait for it to cycle to green, proceeded north. I saw the Cruze turn left, west onto Austin. And within that time frame, saw it turn left. I had to clear the light at Farnham. I got up to Austin, had to wait for traffic to clear, turned left, got behind the vehicle, activated my lights, and made contact with the driver.
What, if anything, happened next?
Made contact with the driver. We went back and forth on the basis of the stop. I got his information, went back to my car, and wrote a citation for 1 to 5 over.
Okay.
And directly in the process of writing the citation, I tested the radar as well, and it passed.
All right. So it's your testimony that at the beginning and end of shift, that radar unit was in fact tested?
Yes, I tested at the beginning and at the end.
Are you certified to operate radar?
I am.
Any indication of radio frequency interference?
No.
You have no doubt that the same vehicle that had been a target vehicle of your radar unit was also the vehicle that Mr. Jackson ended up driving, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else you have? Obviously, you may say for rebuttal. Mr. Jackson, it's your turn. What would you like the court to know, sir?
So that day I was on my way to work, and basically I was maybe a block away from my job site, and I did see him pass him. He was going south, I was going north, and I look in the mirror always. I looked in the mirror, seen he did a U-turn, and by that time I pulled into my job site, which is right there at the corner. He was behind the car. They were stuck at a light, meaning there was at least 1 to 2 minutes where it was a break period to where he wasn't behind me. So meaning I grabbed all my stuff. I was literally about to get out the car and walk into my job site. So my thing is, I wasn't speeding, but also you didn't even pull me over when I was doing like when you were saying I was doing something.
You had to catch
you
me
could have turned your lights on or anything. It was literally like a delay. I could have been all the way down the street, turned a different way or anything. I literally had my car in park, car was off, everything. I'm about to get out and go to work.
Okay.
So
that the court is certain that it understands your testimony clearly, Mr. Jackson, did the court hear you say you believe you were or were not speeding?
I wasn't speeding. I know I wasn't.
Was not speeding?
Yes.
Okay. And you had some concerns about the delay in time from the time you saw the officer until the time he actually engaged you. That concerns you?
Yes, because if I didn't have to get my tool bag and stuff out the car, I could have walked straight into my job site. And what was he going to do then? Mm-hmm. My car was parked, car was off. Key wasn't in the ignition or nothing. I was literally about to walk out the door.
All right. Is there anything else you want the court to know?
No.
All right. Rebuttal testimony, Officer Chandler.
Your Honor, like I said, saw that a high rate of speed activated my radar, received an audible tone that would match approximately 50 miles an hour. I have to drive safely as well. I think, if I could speak candidly, his issue was that I didn't pull him over in time, and he alluded to previous police contacts where they tend to activate their lights and sirens right away and disregard traffic signals and things like that. I waited so that I could safely proceed up Main and turn left onto Austin. Within that time frame, I reviewed my dash cam. I saw the vehicle at 8:45 and 9 seconds, flipped back around, got caught at the light. I saw through some private property across to Austin when I was north on Main at 8:45 and 59 seconds. That's when I got behind the vehicle. So within that time frame, I thought it was logical that no one else was driving, and that was the vehicle that had passed me again. And I looked at the front of the bumper; it had a distinct black bumper.
Okay. The court has heard the testimony of both parties in People versus Damon LaFrance Jackson. The court notes first that it has absolutely zero idea what Mr. Jackson's driving record looks like. This court considers each and every one of these matters on the merits of the exact date and time only. And the court can understand some motorists are sometimes frustrated by some delay in time with respect to when the alleged infraction might have occurred and when they ultimately engaged the officer. However, that can be due to any number of factors, up to and including when and where the officer can safely engage the vehicle, where that officer's vehicle may be going, what direction it's heading in, et cetera, et cetera. The burden of proof in these matters is a mere preponderance of the evidence, and the court does believe that that burden of proof has been met. So at this time, Mr. Jackson, the court is finding you responsible. Speeding 1 to 5 over is a $130 fine that is payable through the pay portal on the court's website. Or Mr. Jackson, you can walk a cash check or charge into this court at 400 East 11 Mile Road, Monday through Friday between 8:30 and 4:30. That's due within 7 days. If you wish to appeal the court's ruling, I'll answer your question in a minute. Thank you. You may do so by posting a cash bond in the amount of $130 within 7. The matter will be placed upon the formal hearing docket of the chief judge of the district, and the city would be represented by city prosecutor Ryan Kalusny. So either as a bond or a fine, $130 within 7. You had a question, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, because after I got off work and everything, I circled back around. And I took a video of the light and everything just to see how long, because he was behind the car also. So I took a video of the light and everything. So with like I was saying, my thing is I wasn't speeding. I could have been in my job site or anything if I didn't. But
he's mad he didn't get out of his car faster.
Like it just doesn't make sense. And if I was breaking the law, the normal police thing, you're going to turn on your lights. Your lights is for everybody to move to the side and know that you're coming. Lights and sirens. You didn't do none of that. You turned the corner slow.
Mr. Jackson, when you're engaging in your hearing, you're to direct your remarks to the court and not directly to the witness. But keep going.
All right, I'm sorry. But yeah, when the police sirens and lights is for the civilians, everybody to know that you're coming. And everything, so we can move out your way and let you have a clear path. Literally, there was a 1 to 2 minute time frame to where I could have went somewhere else. I wasn't speeding. Honestly, I don't even have the money to pay it there. I have a baby on the way.
All right.
I literally
Mr. Jackson, the court appreciates all your remarks. It has made very plain into the record what the appeal process is. In order to attempt to accommodate what appears to be a minor challenge financially at this moment, the court's going to mark that as due within 21 days, which is as far out as the court can place it when the matter is the result of a contested hearing. So 130 within 21, either a bond or a fine. That completes your hearing. Please drive safely. Good luck to you.
So if I want to
appeal,
is there, because I like I said, I have evidence. I literally have a video recorded of him.
And if you believe that this decision was achieved in some wrongful fashion, you have every right to appeal that, and you should bring that evidence with you on your formal hearing date. Good luck to you.
All right.
Got evidence. It would have taken him too long to find me. If you don't get pulled over the first 30 seconds, it's like it didn't happen. It's like Monopoly rules. You got to catch me in the act. You can't say, hey, last turn, you landed on my property, you didn't pay rent.
Court calls case number 25, RO00569. This is People versus Jason Terrell Gordon. That's you?
He's gone.
Yes, speaking.
Mr. Gordon, you were present earlier this afternoon when the court explained the informal hearing process. True?
Yes, true.
So you understood the court instruct you must select from one of 3 options to protect your rights, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Gordon, the citation before the court was issued January 27th this year at 10 minutes of 1 in the afternoon. You are operating a 2016 Dodge Charger, silver in color, on Woodward Avenue, M1, at or near Chester, and at that place and time, you were cited for squealing tires. Officer Chandler's remark, which appears on your ticket, indicates that while officer was on a separate traffic stop and turnaround on Woodward near Chester, the vehicle in question revved the engine, the squealed tires while exiting turnaround. And so the citation is simply for the civil infraction of squealing tires. Regardless, Mr. Gordon, you have three options. You may admit responsibility in this matter. You may admit and explain, or you can deny responsibility. The court will swear the parties and will take testimony. What would you like the court to do for you?
Well, plead guilty and explain. Okay, so with my car.
I'm sorry. The court is making a record, so we'll just take that in two parts if we can. So to begin with, as far as the court's concerned, you are confirming you were operating a motor vehicle that day in Royal Oak, and
Yes,
you
I
did squeal
was.
your tires, correct?
Yes, I wasn't
Thank you.
squealing
The
my
court
tires.
accepts your plea. What would you like the court to know, Mr. Gordon?
Okay, so at the time, I had just started my car. I just hopped into it. I didn't let it warm up. And then also, on top of that, I have electronic stability problem. It's an electrical problem. I've been trying to get it fixed. So that's the cause of why my tires screech. It wasn't intentionally or on purpose.
Okay.
I'm still looking at that to get fixed today. It still pops up on my dash in the cluster, service traction control module.
Okay.
I've been calling around shops and everything.
So launch mode isn't working properly? Is that what I mean?
All right. Is there anything else you want the court to know, Mr. Gordon?
No, sir.
All right. The court appreciates your candor. So you're suggesting that there's an electronic stability.
Yes, and I can go to the car right now and show him proof if needed.
And the court has some familiarity with that because I believe they have that in the old Magnums as well.
Launch control.
I've been trying to get it fixed. I just don't know.
Understood. Well, your candor accounts for something with respect to this court. Officer Chandler, what would you like to share with the court?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Stand by for just a moment, please, Mr. Gordon.
Okay, sir.
The police officer does not pick up on the clue to drop the ticket a little bit.
The good news, Mr. Gordon, is that there are no points attached to this particular citation. The fine itself is $130. That is payable through the pay portal on the court's website, or you may walk a cash check or charge into this court, 400 East 11 Mile Road, Monday through Friday between 8:30 and 4:30, and that is going to be due within 14 days. That completes your hearing.
Okay, thank you.
You take care now.
All right, you too.
This court seems more interested in collecting the fines than anything else. There are just fine after fine after fine. So now they're done. That was this morning. That's a fun court. Let's see. Judge Simpson's back, but I think he's still doing that same. Yeah, he's still doing that same hearing, which we can't handle. I'm sorry. Can you guys see this? I just saw Ian Runkle's video thumbnail with a clown on it. I just thought that was funny. All right. See if Judge Boyd is up and working on this fine Monday. Judge Stephanie Boyd. And she's not. She's got the day off. That's great. You deserve it, Judge. We've got Thurston County. Let's see, they've got some protection orders. Let's see if they have anything else going on other than protection orders. Those are not always the most exciting to watch. Let's see. Starting 4, work our way backwards.
Don't miss
3 is not live. Let's see what 3 did just a minute ago. Hang on one sec.
Send those. Okay, I just sent the first 5 screenshots, and I'm going to save the other ones.
Tell us more about the cow. Couple things. I don't know what this does. Does it have sound effects on it?
7.
It's like an alien abduction. I think you try to get the cow to land upright or something. I don't know how that works. It doesn't land upright.
After the initial
I didn't read the instructions.
Back and forth, he then starts saying, "Hey, I can't." He's saying, well, first he says that, I just want to be left alone, and then he says the restraining orders just keep, bringing me back.
Myself, and then if questions I can ask you. So give me a moment. There's a lot of documents. Thanks. Thanks.
Oh, I pushed the button. Light comes on. I don't need the instructions.
The last of what she sent me.
And the picture that goes with the MARQ mark, is that who you recognize as Mr. Wisnett?
Yes, and he's always gone by Mark. His middle name is Marquette. Right. By Mark with a Q, yeah.
And you're sending more, actually?
Yes, ma'am. Just 5 more. Just.
I could tell a joke
In one of these, then he starts to try and say that he can't see the things, but he says that he acknowledges that it's a restraining order. So
I'll just work on getting them to me, and then I can look at them.
Yeah, I just sent those remaining 5.
Push it again and abducts the cow. I don't get how it abducts the cow, Amber. Like sticks to the bottom. The cow sticks to the bottom. See that? I'm not going to read the instructions, Amber. You don't have to do that. You read the instructions if you can't figure it out yourself.
All right. That extra information satisfies the court that there was service with notice of today's date and what the petitioner is alleging. And so on that, I can make a finding that Mr. Wisnett was served and that he has chosen not to be present. So I'm going to sign an order in default. Let me just get to that, and then I'll turn back to you, Mr. Elm.
Oh, Sloth Life, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. the headset with the lights on them. That's pretty cool. Misty's got some nice gear. And the bling on the glasses. I see a cat or a dog bed back there as well. It's a cat. Where did Amber Lynn go?
All right, so Mr. Elm, the temporary order that was issued is now in effect for a year until next year, March 10th. All the same conditions. And so because it's the same conditions, you don't need to reserve for it to be effective, as he's had notice of this order already. So if within 3 months, by December of next year, if you believe that you want this order to be extended for a longer period of time, we have to have another hearing, but things kind of change. The burden then shifts to Mr. Wisnett to show, there's a presumption that the order should continue. And it would be up to Mr. Wisnett then to present evidence to the court as a reasonable belief that the harassment would not continue if the order ended. So, but there would have to be a hearing, and you can ask the court for that hearing anytime within 3 months of the expiration of March 10th of next year. And keep in mind that these things take time. So if you come in the end of February, it'll expire before we have a hearing, and then the burden shifts back to you. So keep in mind, you need to get to the court earlier than later if that's the decision. I would suggest in at least a month in advance of its expiration. So that's it for today. Any questions?
Your Honor, well, is there anything that's is the copy of the final or the whatever it's called, permit, is that can be emailed to me?
Let's have it. What are we gonna do?
I'm just emailing it, but they can also get it on our website.
All right, so you can either go, probably not until this afternoon. This afternoon, you could go to our website and get it, or go to the court file, or we'll be emailing it to you at the email that you provided earlier.
That's perfect. Thank you.
All right, that's it for today.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, let's see. Albert Nelson. Has Albert Nelson appeared? No, and it's 9:30. Let's see. The Lucases, William and Jamie Lucas. 2552 is the case number. I have the packet. Can I have you there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you were stating earlier that you didn't think Mr. Nelson was given notice of today's date.
No, I got all the papers gathered up and I delivered them to Thurston County Sheriffs to have them serve him. And I called about 3 different times last week and they hadn't done it. And the last time I called was Friday evening, just before they closed. And they said that they were going to try to do it over the weekend. But they only had one officer that does it. And I'm nervous to have somebody, I'm nervous of his reaction. So I thought it would be best to have an officer do it to avoid any issues for anybody else. I didn't want to put anybody else in a situation. But now I'm beginning to think that they're just so overloaded that maybe I need to have somebody else. But I'm also worried.
Right. So that tells me what you want to do, that you want to have another court date so you can attempt service, and then we'll talk about this more. So you can hire a business to do this. You can have a family, friend, somebody else do it, but that person has to file with the court a legal document under penalty of perjury that shows what they served, when they served it, how they served it, so that the court can see if Mr. Nelson doesn't appear that he had legal notice to a legal standard. So you decide how you're going to do that. But we'll set a new court date. We can send this out. No, where are we now? Okay. But we're going to start setting this week to that week?
Well,
okay. Let's set to how's the 31st of March look?
Are you asking me?
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ms. Lucas, what? March 31st, 9 o'clock.
That'll work. Whatever works for you.
That gives you some real time to get this done. So March 31st.
He lived right across the street, so it shouldn't be too difficult. I just was nervous. The judge didn't grant the temporary up until court. And so I am nervous of the repercussions.
Well, you've got until March 31st. That's our next court date. Work on service, and we'll be back then 9 o'clock. Or do we have people in here?
Do it. Then I'll do it.
I left them in a thing.
Okay, 9 o'clock.
I think she's driving.
It. So the service packet, we're going to email it again. We'll email that service packet again to the address, the email address that you gave the court.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's it for today.
All right.
Adam Stillman. Has Adam Stillman appeared? Nobody's in a waiting room or anything, right?
Nope.
Okay. Dennis Hegelstad.
I think
neither is present. So I'll be dismissing that matter. 2553, the petitioner has not appeared. No service was shown. That matter is dismissed.
I need to go in the top corner. Try to see what that is on the wall there behind Karina. What's that chain? Is that a lamp, or is that an anchor, or is that a weapon of some sort?
So did Elizabeth Van Tiem appear? Elizabeth Van Tiem has not appeared. Okay. So we'll take that up when we take up all the orders, Ms. Torres, on that. I'm going to back up to number 1 on the calendar. Let's see. We have Teresa Badillo. Why don't you come on up to the table here, one of these tables, and have a seat. And Amberlynn, again, if you could help me pronounce your last name.
Devosligil.
Just like it sounds.
Just like it. Devosligil. All right. All right. So we're on case number 2535, and this is there was a temporary protection order issued on behalf of Ms. Devosligil against Ms. Badillo. And I'm going to put you both under oath. So, Ms. Padillo, since you're here, why don't you stand up with me?
Stand up,
Raise
take a
your
breath,
right
shoulders
hand. You
back.
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a seat. And then Ms. Vaslagill, or so we can see each other, I'll stay seated. Your right hand is raised. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. And so
Misty's
I
playing
see
Call
that
of Duty
there
right now.
has been, both parties here, I see that there's been an action filed. Let me just, let me get this up here. I'm looking back and forth because I have a couple of screens here. Our files are generally electronic, so I need to look. I will be listening, but I'll probably be looking. So one second, let me get my file up here. Okay, so I see that there has been Superior Court's taken jurisdiction on a hearing. The hearing is the 18th, which is what, Tuesday, next Tuesday? Yes. And I need to ask a question. So, Mr. Vastagill, this is, if I'm correct, your fiance, this is the same man between the two of you. That's the issue, Mr. Vastagill. And do you live with him, or does he live with you?
Yes.
Okay. And then Ms. Badillo, looks like there's a parenting plan and there's a child between the two of you. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor, there's no parenting plan, but there is a child between the two of us.
All right. Yes. No parenting plan. So there's no order of the Superior Court as to visitations or anything of that nature? Okay. And so, Mr. Vastagill, then, and Ms. Badillo, this is my issue. This is the district court, not the Superior Court. When there's a kid involved, the Superior Court is the one who has the power to make some decisions. Because if I sign this order or let this order go farther, then it may interrupt the care, custody, control of a child, of a minor. I don't have that authority. Superior Court does. So what I'm going to do is transfer this to the March 18th date. I'm going to cancel out this order here, transfer this, cancel hearings here. Don't come back for hearings here. Superior Court will have those hearings because of the possibility of interrupting the care, custody, or control of a minor. And again, this court doesn't have that jurisdiction. So with that filing, we'll do a transfer order of this order. You'll all be heard on March 18th, and that court has the power to make the decisions. They've also taken jurisdiction over all the parties. So I'm going to sign an order to that effect. So nothing will happen today other than this order will be transferred to that hearing on the 18th. Let me see what time that is, just for everyone's benefit. So do you have some time to do? You're getting it. Thanks. So, okay. So it's 9 o'clock on the 18th. So at very least we can give them that understanding. So you need to be in, if, okay.
Because I'll have to send that.
Okay.
They have to schedule a case number and all of it.
Well, they've got a case number. That's what I'm saying. So, and I can put that right on here. So that's kind of nice. 301 82 34. I don't know the location, so if you do, that's great.
We could go back to in-person court, but then how would we ever get to know these people? By seeing their backgrounds and meeting their pets, seeing the fun stuff they have on the walls. I mean, that's a dream catcher above Michelle.
All right, so we're going to hand you this notice, this video, so you know. And then Ms. DeVest-Legill, that order transferring and continuing this protection order will be sent over to Superior Court. So that's where the next hearing is, 9 o'clock, March 18th at 9, and we'll give you notice of that today, Ms. Padillo.
Which courtroom?
I don't know. You'll have to contact Superior Court.
Okay.
The family court over Montman Road. You're away. Okay, thanks.
We're in Thurston, Washington, by the way.
Okay. All right. So give this to you, and then Ms. Padillo, no further hearings here, but over in Superior Court. And that's it for today, Ms. DeVest-Legill.
Thank you.
So long. Is there a way to reduce this? I'm off of full screen, but it's still taking up the whole.
Let's see who's left. Are they against each other?
Yeah. Yeah, it's already reduced from full screen.
Okay.
That's the problem. How do I need more room?
I don't know of a way to do that. I can ask Blaine for that.
Yeah, it would help a lot.
Okay.
Then I'll have more room to work with. That would be great. I'll just keep going here. All right. So Janet Peters, you're here. Yes. But you have a seat up here. Have a seat up here. And then the Johnstons, you can come over here and have a seat.
Neighbor versus neighbor, maybe?
All right, we got you seated. Ms. Peters, stand up and I'll put you under oath. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. All right, you can have a seat. Mr. Johnston, raising your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Seat. And Ms. Johnston, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated. All right. Great. So this is case 2556 filed by Ms. Peters asking for an order against both Taylor and Carrie Johnston. And there's been a temporary order issued. And the parties should know that I have reviewed the order that was issued by the previous judge under 25-9 on January 27th, protecting Ms. Carrie Johnston from William Peters. And along with reviewing this, I thought it important to kind of see a broader reach. So, Blaine, I'm just going to ask.
Could you fix my screen for me?
How do I give you this? How do I? This is already off of full screen, but I really need more real estate. Half screen.
I need a bigger monitor is what we need. Blake, we know you're hoarding the good monitor back in the IT, the tech support area.
And then hitting. Well, it was on the back. Yeah. All right, there we go. All right. But it didn't have that button. I had to hit escape to get that button. Okay, now that I know how to do it. Thanks.
Mary Brown, welcome. You click the subscribe button. We call that admitting to being an addict. Good to have you here, Mary.
Get my screen set up here. And again, I'm looking back and forth because I've got electronic files here. I am listening, but I'm also looking. There's a lot of things filed here. So this. All right. So to both parties here. My first, as I've reviewed 25-9 and I've reviewed this case, 2556 filed by Ms. Peters, I'm not seeing a substantial change from January 27th. I'm not seeing a substantial basis by which to issue any order. This appears to be simply a request by Ms. Peters because there was an order issued on January 27th. I don't see any real basis. And so that cuts us to the chase. Everything I've read, all the exhibits, there were a lot of exhibits filed, and 09, there was a lot of information, that previous case. So there is nothing here to cause this court to issue an order on your behalf, Ms. Peters. Frankly, looks retaliatory to the court. Now, I'm not going to make any findings as to that, but I find there is no substantial basis to issue an order on your behalf. So that temporary order ends. The order that is in existence that protects Carrie Johnston from William Peters continues, and there is no order out of this case because there isn't any basis. So that's it. You haven't met the burden that you needed to meet. So I will sign an order as to the effect. You can either wait or you can access that order online in our court files. Did you want to wait or just access that online?
We'll wait.
I think Misty Torres just got her good loadout in COD.
Want to wait? All right. So let me take care of this.
She's dropping into the hot zone right now. I want to see if Karina and Misty Torres are here to oppose each other. Karina has some really fancy glasses that rival Misty's. I think personally that both of them are better than the judges. Karina has a feng shui background. Michelle has I think those are handmade, I think she made them, the dream catchers behind her. Misty has a cat. Maybe she's an eye model. She blinks for a living. Karina has a pair of glasses. She'll put them on occasionally. I think they're black frames.
Make a couple of copies.
Green has a straw. Let me run back to my normal place now that it's not crowded in here anymore.
So Ms. Peters, first, if I could have you come on up here and we'll hand you that and then you can be on your way. That's for you. Then you can be on your way. Then Mr. Johnston, why don't you come on up and get that. You can either wait in the courtroom or be on your way. I just want to help everyone not to avoid bumping into each other. Looks like the Peters are getting on their way. So you can have a seat in the courtroom if you'd like. So I can't take anything from you while people are not all together. So if you wanted to wait 5 minutes, we'll like it. Aaron Barrett, why don't you come on up to the table there? And Karina Harris.
Karina's up.
Got you there. All right, unmute.
Glasses on.
Just trying to get my...
She means business.
Here so I can see everybody. All right, we're taking up case 2558, and this is Mr. Barrett has received a temporary restraining order against Ms. Harris, and that's the hearing today. So, Mr. Barrett, why don't you stand up with me, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, have a
Mr.
seat.
Barrett wants Ms. Harris to
And
stay
Ms.
away from
Harris, you'd raise your right hand with me. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
And Mr. Barrett, just so you're not uncomfortable, I'm looking at the back wall, not at you all the time, and you may get a little confused because that's where the video screen is. So I'm looking at Ms. Harris because it's sometimes easier to change focus. All right, so let me get all my documents again, as I've said to others, just so you're aware. I've got another screen here, and that's where I'm looking at my court dockets or all the information that y'all filed. So I'll be looking back and forth. I am listening, but I am also looking at what you filed. So please understand that. Where are they? So I'm just getting some of those dockets or information open. Give me a moment.
You think it's going to get spicy in this one? She's got her business glasses on. She's got her hair pulled up. I think it might get interesting.
Just refamiliarizing myself as I've had there were several hearings scheduled today, so I have notes, but I always want to look back and recall what exactly we're doing here.
Michelle has dream catchers everywhere. Her walls are covered in dream catchers. I've counted 5 of them.
All right. And this involves also several of your children that we included, Mr. Barrett, in the temporary order. Okay, so I'm going to start out, with the petitioner, as I said. So Ms. Harris, first I'm going to talk with Mr. Barrett, and then I'm going to turn back to you and hear from you. And then I'll make a decision about whether this temporary order continues or not, what the conditions might be if I do make that decision under the law that this order should continue. So, Mr. Barrett, anything more, anything you want me to focus in on, anything in particular? You filed this petition. What would you like to say?
I submitted some information this morning. Also via email.
Okay, let's get that going.
Well, I just, because it was all within the body of the email, can't accept it that way. So you have to send it as attachment.
And did you provide that by any chance separately to Ms. Harris?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay. All right. So a couple of options for you. I can go forward without that information. You can tell me about it, or we can set another court date. You get that information into the court, get it to Ms. Harris, and
I vote tell us about it.
That's how we deal with it. So I guess I need to know from you. Where you want to go?
I can tell you about it then.
Okay. So rather than me reviewing any of that, you're going to forego all of that you tried to file.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's what we'll do. We'll go on what we have. And I've got, and you're ready for your hearing otherwise today?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Harris, you ready for this hearing today?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
okay. All right. So back to you then, Mr. Barrett. What would you like to say on this?
So back in September, October was my first interaction with her. She came to my property about my dogs, supposedly being on her property. And she showed me a video of a long-haired German Shepherd, which didn't exactly match my dog's description. But so we talked about it, and she asked what I was going to do about it because I don't have a fenced-in yard. So I told her that when time and money allows, I would get a barrier put up. So if it was my dogs that went on her property, it wouldn't happen again. And then after that incident, there was several times that my wife and I were not home, and we heard from the neighbors that she was sitting in our driveway while there was no vehicles there. There was no indication that anybody was home, and she was just sitting parked in our driveway. And we have a very long driveway to get down, so she was sitting in front of our house. So I heard from the neighbors about that. And then also one time my father was home, and she came on 2 different instances when my dogs were inside in the kennel all day with my dad, that she was there sitting in our driveway, not coming to the door, not doing anything, just sitting there.
This is not a shared driveway, is it?
No,
she doesn't need to use it.
It's my private driveway that she has no business down the driveway.
But nobody else needs to use it to get to their own property.
Nope.
Okay.
It's just my property.
All right.
Access for one residence.
All right.
And so then that happened. And then animal control was called. They came and talked to us. We were not issued any warning because they said she didn't provide any proof. They met our dogs. They actually physically petted our dogs.
What's the deal with her, though? Not, so why are you asking for this protection?
From February 24th. So February 24th, I got home probably probably about 1:30 in the afternoon. And I heard this honking, and I'm like, what is that? And Miss Harris's vehicle was in my driveway holding the horn down. So I went out, I opened the door, and she starts yelling from her window, "Are your dogs with you?" And I said, "Yes, my dogs are with me. They're in the house." And I started walking up to her. I'm like, as far as I know, they've been in the house. I apologize if they were out. And as soon as I finished speaking, she started screaming at me. So I said, she was screaming and cursing. So I said, "Hold up. This is not going to go this way on my property. You need to leave." And she said, "No, I'm not leaving until you talk to me." I said, "No, I'm not going to let you disrespect me on my own property." So I said, "You need to leave or I will call the sheriff." And she refused to leave. So I went inside to grab my phone.
Then she left.
Which I have videos, but I wasn't able to figure out how to submit them. They're too large.
Tell me about it.
But so I went in the house, and when I closed the door, she's laying on the horn. I called the sheriff, told them what's going on. They said they were going to send somebody out. So she's constantly laying on the horn. My kids are crying, freaking out. "What's going on, Dad?" So I go back outside, and I'm like, I'm going to film her doing this. So I filmed her. I walked around her vehicle, got her plate number.
So you went inside. Did you call the sheriff?
Yes, I went inside and called the sheriff, and the whole time she's laying on her horn. So I went back out there to film this. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe because I have a long driveway, like I said, I'm going to go wait at the end of the driveway for the sheriff, and maybe that will entice her to leave my property. Because she kept saying, "I'm not leaving until you talk to me." I said, "I'm not talking to you, so leave."
How many times do you think she told you she's not leaving after you asked her to leave?
I would say at least half a dozen to a dozen.
Okay.
She was just flat out refusing. And I told her, we're not talking, so you need to leave. You're trespassed. I even used the word trespass.
And when you say initially, "Are your dogs with you?" she's hollering, and then after that there was cursing.
There was no attempt at cordial communication.
Do you know what she said? Did she make any threats to harm you or your person or your property?
Started with, "You need to effing," and as soon as that left her mouth, I shut down. I said, "This is not going to happen. You need to leave." And
so
she just started screaming.
Threats to harm you, your property, or your children yet at that point?
No, she wasn't. She didn't threaten, but she refused to leave.
Clearly, she likes you. Right. She's flirting.
And then kids are upset. You've called
the sheriff. I go sit at the end of the driveway, and I'm sitting next to the driveway, so she can clearly leave. I was blocking my neighbor's driveway at that point.
Are you just sitting yourself or in a car?
I'm in my vehicle. I got my vehicle and drove to the end of the driveway.
Okay.
She lives across the street.
You drove. How do you drive if she's in your driveway?
So I have so you come down my driveway, then it opens up, and there's a big parking area. You can go behind my house. I have 2 acres, so you can go all the way to the back of the property. You can go all the way to the front, but there's a big parking area in front of the house where all the cars are. So there's enough room to have several vehicles and turn around.
Okay. So you could drive around this person in your driveway.
Yeah, she was sitting here. My vehicle was sitting here in front of my house. I had plenty of room to back out. I backed all the way down the driveway and blocked the neighbor's driveway. So she could leave. She was free to leave to wait for the sheriff. Well, then she pulls up and blocks my gate, my driveway. So I can't even get into my property now. And I said, "You need to leave. This is illegal." So she's actively blocking my driveway.
Okay, so let me understand how that works. So she's in your driveway. And then how did she?
So I'm sitting at the end right by the road. She comes and I have a gate. Well, there's no longer a gate there, but there's 2 posts where there used to be a gate. So there's only room for 1 vehicle to get through. She comes and sits right there. So nobody could get in or out.
Perpendicular to that?
No, she just pulled. So here's the 2 posts.
Just
she comes,
between.
yeah,
Okay.
just sitting right in the middle of the lane.
Okay.
And so at this point, I told her she needs to leave. I'm filming this as well. You need to leave. This is illegal. I can't get to my house. I can't get to my children. She's like, I'm not leaving. So I called the sheriff again at this point. There was 2 calls. And I said, can you guys please hurry? She's now blocking my driveway. I can't get to my house. So they told me to stay on the line. I stayed on the line with 911 until the deputy showed up. He showed up. She was actively blocking my driveway and saw that I could not get into my property. So he had her pull forward. He had me get back in my car, had her pull forward enough that I could squeeze by. And then I went and waited at my house for him to talk to her. And then he came and talked to me. So that was the end of that incident. And I asked him, can I have her trespass? Can I press charges? He said the best course of action would be to get an anti-harassment order because I don't know why I couldn't trespass.
So if this happened before or something.
This was the second time I've ever had a personal face-to-face interaction with her.
Okay.
This is the second interaction.
What was the first one?
The one I mentioned back in September, October when she came and she showed me a video that she thought was my dog. I didn't think it was my dog.
Was there any conflict or harassment or threats or anything at that point?
At that point, yeah, she was talking about me buying a gate or a fence for her property. That I was going to pay for a fence if it kept happening. She kept mentioning I'm going to pay for a fence.
So do you share a property line?
No, she lives across the street.
Across the street.
Yeah.
So, all right. But a threat to harm. Were there any threats to harm you, property, family, dogs?
Just stalking me.
In October when you first met, or September, October when you first met, that discussion. So hold your peace there. You can only hear from one person at a time and you're interrupting the recording.
During that discussion?
Yeah. What happened then?
In October?
Talk to me.
That was just, we talked about the gate. We talked about the dogs. She just kept saying, if this is going to be a problem, then there's going to be court proceedings or something following. She basically made me feel intimidated and made me feel threatened by what she was saying.
As to maybe litigation or
Yes.
something, animal control.
Yeah, without any, I felt like there was no proof that my dogs were even on her property. So it's just like.
All right. So that was the first event. It wasn't a good, friendly, neighborly, but it was simply contain your dogs or maybe I'll sue you or get animal control or you got to build a fence. Maybe you need to build a fence for me so that if you're going to let your dogs go, is that kind of what,
Yeah.
All right. And then the next time, so no other contact, no.
But aside from her reports from the neighbors and from my father of her sitting in our driveway when we weren't home.
Okay, so that happened
in between those 2 time frames, several times.
Okay, so several times means how many do you think?
I can tell you at least 4.
Okay, so about 4 times. She's in her vehicle in your driveway, just sitting.
Sitting right by my house.
All right. And any discussion after all that? Any contact after all that before February 24th?
No.
No letters, no nothing?
Aside from animal control.
Okay. So animal control shows up around when?
I want to say it was like towards the end of October.
Okay.
Or middle or end of October. I'm not exactly sure on the date. I wasn't there when they showed up. They spoke to my wife.
Okay. All right. And so they show up, talk to them. And then between October and February, 4 times, you understand, she's in her vehicle sitting in your driveway.
Yes.
Okay. And no, not coming up to the door, knocking on the door, no leaving a note, no nothing.
Nothing.
No emails, no texting, no nothing. Okay. And then all of a sudden on February 24th, your neighbor's in your driveway in her car, honking her horn, refusing to leave up to it.
Cursing at me, yes.
Okay. And all right.
And then the next day, February 25th, I received a phone call from an ex-coworker of mine whom I hadn't spoke to in a long time. And he asked me if I knew of a Karina Harris, and I was like, yeah, why? she had reached out to him on Facebook. Mind you, I don't know this woman, so I don't know how she knows my last name.
Now I have to go on Facebook.
None of that. I introduced my first name. That's it. So somehow she found him on my Facebook because we're mutual friends on Facebook, and she wrote him a message to give to me, but he didn't even reply or show her that she could see the message, because you can view a message without letting the sender know that you've seen it on social media. And so she wrote him asking if he can send me a message for her. And then she sent the message, and it was a bunch of slandering me, talking about my criminal record and how I'm going to pay for her fence, and how she's already had to spend $700 on a small fence in her backyard, and how I already have basically almost word for word, I already have criminal charges. Do I want more because I can't contain my dogs and they're a threat to public safety or human safety, and that I have no regard for human safety because of my past. She was bringing up my past criminal record. So she's literally, I don't understand what my criminal record has to do with my dogs being in her yard, but she's running background checks on me, following me on social media, reaching out to coworkers, which my coworker said he doesn't know her. He's never met her, doesn't know how she got his information to even talk to me. He even offered to come here if I needed him to, but he said he doesn't even know that woman. So at that point, I was terrified. She's running background checks on me. She's making accusations. She's slandering, basically calling into question my character. So what's going to stop her from reaching out to my boss next time, or the company I'm working for? Like, I don't know how she's even finding this information out about me. So I'm terrified.
So what animals do you own?
I have a German Shepherd and it's like a pit bull mix.
Okay. All right. 2 dogs.
Well, we have a third one too, but the third one was not involved in this.
And so that doesn't seem to be part of the aggravation.
Right.
These two are the.
And again, each time, so animal control's been in our house twice now, and both times they said she has not provided any proof for them to give us a ticket or any formal complaint.
Right. So I'm going to turn to Ms. Harris, but what do you anticipate I'm going to hear from her?
I honestly don't know. Probably calling into question my character and bringing up my background, which has nothing to do with this.
Okay. Anything crazy, about the maybe? Dogs, or?
She's probably going to try and say they're dangerous, but I mean, we've lived in this house for 4 years.
4 years?
And she just moved in last year, and we haven't had zero problems with anybody around us until she moved in.
Why would you think she would say you have dangerous dogs?
That's what she wrote in the message, that my dogs were dangerous and that I don't have any regard for human safety.
Okay. Is there some allegation of them attacking her family, animals?
Animal control never said anything about them being threatening to anybody, or they would have given us a ticket or further. They closed their investigations each time they met our dogs. They came to our house and our dogs were out in the yard.
What did animal control say they were there for? Did they tell you what the substance?
Well, apparently it's anonymous, but they said that our dogs were at large.
Okay.
They said it's anonymous. And then they also, the animal control lady this most recent time said that she feels, in her opinion, she can see how these are retaliatory. It's like harassment. Her complaints. They said they can see a form of harassment in the complaints they're getting about our dogs.
So, do you know how many complaints have been sent to animal control about your dogs?
As far as I know, the 2. They've been to our house twice, and like I said, each time, because normally there's a process. You get a warning, and then you get ticketed. Okay. And each time they've talked to us, but they haven't given us a warning or a ticket, because they said you have to have a time-stamped and dated picture. You have to have proof. And so they said she's not providing any
proof. Are you under any restrictions from animal control?
No, none.
And so, two times have just been that the animals are at large.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what you understand. All right. Let me turn to anything else before I turn to Ms. Harris?
I saw in her table of contents or that she submitted something about an Amazon dog bite or something. Mm-hmm. Again, that further terrifies me because I have no clue how she would know anything about that. There was an incident between our dog and an Amazon delivery driver that was closed. Animal control was not involved. There was no legal proceedings.
That happened?
What was that?
When did that about?
I want to say beginning of October.
Okay, of 24.
like October 1st, around there.
2024?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And something happened, Amazon came to.
Yeah, something happened with Amazon and our dog. And it was not public information. I don't know how she knows about that. And I noticed the other day she has a camera pointing right down my driveway. So I think she's literally watching us 24/7 now.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'm convinced of it. I'm terrified that she's watching my house all the time, waiting for my dogs to walk down my driveway. Like, how she would know about that, I have no idea. That's between us and Amazon. I don't know how she got any information on it. It's scary, to be honest. It just adds to all this, reaching out to my coworkers, looking at my social media, reaching out to people off my social media.
So it looks like, is this your partner or your wife?
That's my wife.
Raising her. Is she a witness that you want to call?
Yeah,
Okay. So why don't you come up? I'll put you under oath. I'll hear from you, and then I'll finally turn to Ms. Harris. Nope, right there.
And raise your right hand. And you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
All right. Why don't you have a seat and tell me your name?
Elizabeth Barrett.
Elizabeth Barrett.
Yes.
And you are married to Mr. Barrett?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you live at this residence that we're talking about?
Yes.
And you're the owner as well of these two dogs?
The dogs and the Amazon account.
Okay. So what is it I should know about your request? I mean, Mr. Barrett is the only one I remember named on this order for protection.
I wrote in her and my father, Your Honor. I didn't really know how to go about it. I just wanted everybody in our house protected from being harassed by her.
And then the 4 kids.
Yeah.
And you share these kids?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So tell me, from your perspective, what I need to know about this request for an order against Ms. Harris.
Well, I've known about the surveillance system that she has pointed at our house.
How do you know about it?
You could see the light on it at nighttime, and then if it gets a little dim in the daytime or in the mornings, you can see the light. It is the kind of camera that hunters use to watch animals. And so since this incident with Amazon was from the driver not using the alert system to let us know they were coming, and she was in our doorway. So
who was in your doorway?
The Amazon driver.
Okay.
So when this incident happened, it was in my doorway, which would be not something that you could easily capture without that surveillance system. So that would be the only way that she would know about this incident. Because it was customer, it was my complaint. The incident was opened because the driver came to my doorway and way further than somebody delivering stuff should be at. So this incident should not have been public information. It's just simply from the constant surveillance of my home.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to turn to Ms. Harris at this stage. Ms. Harris, now's your time to respond to this request. There's a temporary order in effect, and your opportunity to respond as to why the court, I presume, you don't want this order and why the court shouldn't allow it to go farther.
Okay. First of all, let me address Amazon. Amazon seen their dogs in my yard so many times they quit delivering to me because the dangerous dogs, because there was a dog bite. So I had to explain to Amazon that they're not my dogs. So I actually got cut off for deliveries because of that dog bite, because the driver sees the dogs in my yard. That's how I found out about Amazon, for one. Two, the camera they're speaking of is a rodent and like coyote control. It is a little thing you stick in the ground because I'm trying to deter any dogs, her dogs, from coming in my yard. So if something comes close to it, it makes a noise, goes, and it flashes red. That is not a surveillance camera. That is simply, it detects motion, makes noise and a light to trying to deter their dogs from coming in my yard. I've got it on all 4 corners of the acre property, trying to keep the dogs out of my yard. That is not a camera. I could go pull it right out of the ground right now. I've got them in all 4 corners and also at the driveway. So there's that. Animal control. The reason they have not heard anything back is because the case is still open. Animal control has called me. They said they're taking further measures and they will call me when the case is closed. When he says they don't have any videos or pictures, that is false. In the first case, the officer told me that my video proof was not sent correctly, so he didn't get it with the report. And I will tell you, I have dozens of ring cam videos of their dogs. And I have been to their house 3 times and 3 times only. And the 3 times I matched them up with my ring cam videos. And I'm going over there only for one reason only, is to have them come get their dogs. The other thing I want to bring awareness to is through their entire petition, they talk about I was drunk every single time. And I'm sure that they have looked at the evidence, what he just said. And that I have my 911 call and videotaped him what he did when I came to his house. He's the real danger. Their dogs are dangerous. This is a serious situation. And the last thing I am is drunk. I am terrified and I am very upset. So why no mention of being drunk today when their entire petition is about I'm so-called drunk? I am there because their dogs are in my yard and it's dangerous. And on October 30th, they say I was at their house. Oh, by the way, those 3 times that I've been there, I don't get out of my vehicle. Their dogs are loose. Why would I get out of my yard? I'm sorry, my car. I'm there to have them come get their dogs. And I have all the ring cams from it. And they have not heard back from animal control because besides me, there's 2 other cases that are open. Animal control did tell me that. I don't have them for court. I'm sorry I couldn't submit it for evidence because I did request the public records, but I got an email back that it could take up till April 21st to get. And so I am not trying to search them and do things.
Step you back so you say you've been to their property 3 times. So do you agree it was around September and October and then February of this year?
Not in the middle time.
Well, why don't you start me out? Your 3 times. Start me out with the first and then go to the second and then the third.
I didn't want to talk to them because it started to be a problem. And so I put up those animal deterrents to see if that could do it. Because I did see there was a coyote also coming around. So it was like their dogs, the coyote is why I put them up. And I was really hoping that would work. And honestly, I didn't want to get to know them because we moved in. And in September,
tell me when you first had contact with anyone. Talk me through those 3 times.
So what I was going to tell you was the sheriffs came, like 8 sheriffs came and surrounded their house when I was getting ready to go talk to him. So I was kind of nervous about it. But I did it anyways because the dogs came again. And the sheriff.
And when was that, do you think?
That was in September. So I did go over because the dogs came back again. And I was like, I really didn't, because sheriffs gave me a card and said, if you see Aaron or a white car, please call us. We stayed our mind business. I didn't call the sheriffs when they were around. And
you went over in September and your conversation was with who?
Yeah. It wasn't until this time that I said that I was going to sue them for offense, which I am.
Well,
that is
step
true.
back. What was that first meeting? Tell me all about that first meeting.
It was fine, actually. He was polite. He said, yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem. And we're trying to get money together to put a fence up and they shouldn't be in your yard. I was pleased with the conversation. And I stressed to him that I'm nervous. Like I have a 23-pound corgi. He goes with me everywhere I go. We walk out the door.
Jameson.
This last time, the pit bull and German Shepherd were at my front door and at my car door. This is going to end up in a bad scenario.
When was the second time that you had contact with
The second time, which I sent you the video, I went to let my dog outside and the German Shepherd was like 20 feet away and I didn't see, he came out from the side of the house and I didn't see him. And the German Shepherd did run, but my little guy, when he's at home, he's protective. So my little guy took after him. And then
when about was this, do you think?
This was October 30th. The same.
Okay. So did you have contact with either of the Barretts?
Okay. So no, they didn't come to their door. I went to their house, which is true. I did go and I had showed you that video. It's time stamped on the 30th and they didn't answer. They didn't come out. I came to the house.
Stayed in your car or your vehicle.
Yes.
And what did you do to get anybody's attention?
I called animal control and I sent them the videos and that was why animal control went there. I also sent you the receipt October 31st.
But step back, you're not answering. I really need some help here. So on October 30th, you go over in your car. How did you get anybody's attention, any of the Barrett's attention?
Nobody came out. Nobody came out.
But how, so you just went over, sat, and hoped somebody would come outside?
I just honked the horn, nobody came out, and I left.
All right. So all right. So, and then since then, the Barretts think that you've been there about 4 times before about February.
Yeah,
so you tell me, what do you think?
Didn't happen. The only other time is I drove up to their mailbox because animal control, I needed the address and I wasn't positive what the address was. So I just drove over and to their mailbox because I was doing the report for animal control. Any other time, I have never been to their property ever.
Okay. So then in the petition, there are these allegations that family members see you there. Let's see, where is it?
Didn't happen, Your Honor.
Okay.
We're going to need the videos.
All right. And then February 24th, we've heard from Mr. Barrett. What's your recollection?
So February 24th. Oh, sorry. I was thinking the earlier date. Okay. So February 24th, what happened was I looked out my window because my dog was freaking out, and the dogs were right up at the house. I mean, right up. I mean, if we would have walked out the door, it had been a bad scenario because my dog always goes from the door right into my Jeep and waits for me to open the door. You know what I mean? It's like, it would have been catastrophe. And so I called 911, which you have my 911 call. And they said, if it's not an active attack, there's nothing that they can do, but they transferred. They said, what we need to do is transfer you to animal control. I got voicemail, animal control. So then the dogs went around to my side yard, and I sent you a picture of the dogs behind my Jeep. And because a ring cam catches everything. These guys say there's no evidence. It's like, I have dozens of videos. And so I got in my car and I went up to his house, and if Your Honor, he said to you earlier that his dogs were with him. If you look at the police report and the evidence, he even told the police officers, kids, let the dogs out. I mean, the dogs were loose.
So what do you remember happened? So you call animal control, go on.
In the car, and I went to pulled in their driveway. I honked the horn. He opened the door and he yelled, my kids, let him out. And he shut the door again. He said, my kids, let him out. So he shut the door. Well, I've had to buy a fence that October 30th that happened. The October 31st, I say
So let me hone in on the 24th. So you stayed on your property, or where did you do? Where did you go?
I got in my Jeep when they went around the side property, because they usually, when they come through, they'll go out and go down the other street, Green Ridge. So once they left, I got in my vehicle, and because 911, I got a voicemail at animal control. So I drove up to their house. I go out the driveway. It's kind of like kitty corner, and I go in the driveway, and I honked the horn. He opened the door. He said, my kids, let him out. And he went back in and shut the door. Well, I had more to say to let him know, like, this is getting scary. Like, if I would have came out that door with my dog, we would have had a direct encounter. And instead of talking to me, he shuts the door. He comes out of his house, and he's from his deck, and he's narrated alcohol involved, intoxication, and starts creating this scene that's not the scene, and starts filming me because he knew darn well exactly why I was there, because his dogs were out. He knew why I was there. And so he was claiming that I was drunk. And then he said he was going to call the police. And then I'm there because I'm terrified to death of their dogs. I'm truly terrified. So I said, you know what? I am not drunk. I will stay. I will stay. I will stay for the sheriff. So he ends up backing out, which, Your Honor, this is during school hours. I never saw any kids. That's all I'm saying. And why would he leave his house if kids were really in the house terrified? But that's whatever. Maybe people do that. So he leaves and goes to the road. I'm pulling out, and he's videotaping me, and I'm trying to talk to him. And then he said he called the sheriff, and I looked and the sheriff was coming. So I backed up, and I was like, I'm waiting right here. You say I'm drunk. I am not drunk. I want proof I want a sheriff to see that I am not drunk, because these two that are in court, in front of your court, they have like
So
three.
then you back up and the sheriff arrives, and what happens?
And he talked to me and he said, well, clearly you're not drunk. And I said, no. And Your Honor, if I was drunk like the report says, why would an officer let me drive home? Because I wasn't.
I'm not concerned so much about that. But so the sheriff comes, you have an opportunity to talk to the sheriff.
Yes.
And then somehow, how does this all resolve that day?
He was very nice. He said, thank you for waiting. I said, I'm here because he's saying I'm drunk and I'm terrified of his dogs. And he said, well, I thank you for waiting. And then he said, I'm going to go talk to him. Then the sheriff came back the next day and he saw that I said, look, I've even put up a fence. And he said, yeah, you really need to stay on top of this with animal control. And his words exactly were to me. Mr. Barrett seems to think that his defense is that his kids let his dogs out. And he's not getting it that he's responsible.
So what happened on the 25th? So you're talking to the officer on the 25th. You said
Yes.
they came back out. Why did they come back out on the 25th?
He came to let me know that he talked to what happened when he went and talked to him.
Okay.
Because he sent me home. You know what I'm saying? After he talked to me, he sent me home. And then he said he would follow up with me later. So he personally came over and was super nice and said, you know, he doesn't get it. He thinks because his kids let the dogs out that it's like he's not responsible. And them saying this isn't their dog, I have endless videos. It's their dogs.
So it's been about 3 weeks since the last kind of contact about all this you've had, or?
Yes.
not?
And here's what I can promise you. I will never go on their property again. Animal control is taking it very serious, and we're taking it very serious because it's gotten to a point where it's serious. I mean, something bad's going to happen. And also, the report was mostly written by his wife, which she's never been there. I've never even seen her. So, and I mean, what this feels like is retaliation for me calling animal control. And this is even more proof they don't want to take responsibility for having control of their animals.
Let me ask you a question. So you say that you're terrified of these two dogs, the German Shepherd and the Pit Bull mix, and kind of map out for me why you feel that.
Because one, my little dog, I mean, he goes to daycare, he goes to parks, everything. But what I didn't know this until their dogs came around, and even the coyote, he charges them. So, like, it's just a bad combination. So even if their dog didn't attack my dog first, my little dog is protective. Something bad's going to happen. Or it could be us. I don't know their dogs. So I don't know if they're nice dogs, bad dogs, whatever they're on. They don't want trespassing on their property. How about the trespassing of their dogs? Like, problem solved.
So fortunately, your dog hasn't been attacked. You haven't been attacked. Is that right? But you say they've been on your front porch.
No, I don't have a porch. They were literally this time why I went over there and why I was honking the horn for him to come back out is to let him know that this time, because before they would usually come in the backyard, which I've already put up a gate to stop them. I put up the flickering lights, which is not camera. It's to deter animals. That's all it is. It's not a camera. My ring cams are connected places on my property, but it's not the one that they're talking about that sees their house. That's an animal deterrent. So I've put up small fencing, I've put up a gate, I have animal deterrents, I've involved animal control. Like, I've done everything under the sun that I could possibly do to keep their dogs out of my yard. That's the only reason I was at their house.
So at this stage, then, you've put up some sort of fence, and is there any other?
If you look and you can see the picture of it, what it is, it's an full acre property. I just put a smaller fence up on the October 31st, the day after the chase with their dog. And the same day they say they went to their house. Yes, I did, because of that video. The next day I bought fencing. It's just like, It's just so my dog can go out to the bathroom safe, and that their dog happens to be there. My dog doesn't chase their dog, vice versa. It's just to have a safe boundary. I've already done that. And I feel this whole thing is just retaliation because I did say now that it's happened again, now I'm going to sue you for fencing. Because I mean, what more can I do? And Amazon won't even deliver to me because they saw my dogs in here because they had a dog bite. And that's how I knew about Amazon. I had explained to Amazon that I'm doing everything I can to keep the dogs off my property. And because
you talk about an Amazon dog bite, what does that mean? I don't know what that's about.
Amazon got bit, the Amazon driver got bit by their dog. And then Amazon saw their dogs in my yard. So that Amazon driver didn't feel comfortable delivering to me. That's how I knew about this Amazon stuff, because I had to explain to Amazon to get my packages that I am doing everything I can to keep those dogs away.
It gets better and better.
And they have yet, Aaron, when I talked to him in September, they said they were going to put up fencing. There's still yet any fencing. And you know what, Your Honor? It's not only just like, it's everybody's protection. Those dogs are going to cause an accident or they're going to get hit. Like, they just let them go.
All right. Let me just kind of review what I'm looking at here. I'll turn back if I have any further questions here.
Absolutely.
Misty and Michelle sure got their money's worth today. Like, we'll just pay the fine. We got the whole show today. Front row seats. It was great. Thank you, Your Honor. This Harris dog is cute. It's got blue-eyed corgi. It's all over on our Facebook page. I think the advertisements not the advertisements, the wall decorations, are they from Thailand, or is that sort of like the theme? She's sipping tea for real. Michelle is. I think she gets up and gets a little fresh air break through a filter. Timu Taimir.
All right. So, Mr. Barrett, Ms. Barrett, Ms. Harris. So, what I have to find under the law, I can't find to issue an order. What I have to find under the law is that there's a course of conduct committed by Ms. Harris against the two of you with the intent to cause harm, it's like to go back and read it out, but that it causes substantial emotional distress and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. Now, I can see you don't like that your neighbor is coming onto your property and honking her horn, but now I'm hearing more from the other side. It makes some sense why she's there, not wanting to get out of the car, not wanting to confront two big dogs who she doesn't know. So often we have requests from folks in the county about neighbors' dogs. I mean, this pipes up a lot of stuff. There have to be some ways that if you're all going to live in this neighborhood to communicate, maybe get the dogs introduced, maybe not, I don't know. You're all dog owners. Friends. You know that better than the court about your dogs. But that's the problem is everybody has to control their dogs so that your neighbors aren't aggravated. And I don't find that Ms. Harris is committing harassment such that it's unlawful or illegitimate behavior, that she's coming over and honking her horn to get your attention because she doesn't want to get out and confront two dogs, who are known to run loose. Now, there are other ways. I mean, I would suggest there's something called the Dispute Resolution Center, and they're here in this county. They do work. They've been doing it for decades. They help neighbors kind of figure things out. They help you come to some sort of understanding with each other so you can live peaceably and the dogs can peaceably and everybody can be safe and not worry about their neighbor. And they do that all over the county, and it's really helpful. I would suggest you try that if you can't talk to each other. But I cannot find that Ms. Harris is committing harassment as it's defined under the law. So I'm denying the order ends today. There will not be an order going forward. It really sounds like folks can talk about this. Maybe if the dogs get to know each other, it won't be a problem. I don't know. But certainly keeping animals on your own property, that's kind of what we all have to do. And that causes a lot of aggravation in the county. So,
do you mind if I ask a question then?
Go ahead.
At what point, if it's not talking about a solution that she wants, simply money, are we able to then ask that she not be able to keep coming over, and that's her only solution?
Well, I think you've told each other, you have to respect each other's limits. And if you don't want someone on your property, then say that. But you got to figure this out. If you're going to live across from each other, you got to figure this out. You don't want to be aggravated forever.
Before. Yeah. So it's like, it's okay to then tell us if you don't feel safe. But she's
think you've heard it.
However much time, and then coming to our house and saying, I want money. Okay, that's nice.
Well, don't leave it there. Don't leave it there, and don't get into an argument. It sounds like you've got some room to work together.
Right.
And if you need some help, dispute resolution center is a really good low cost group to talk to who can help you find ways to talk, find common ground, find a solution. They don't make the solution for you. You do, but they help you. Their motto is, you can solve it, we can help. And so,
they're about to be sued by Home Depot.
I think there's been a lot said.
You can do it.
But if we can get that emotion down for something where we just want left alone,
but also I think there's a valid reason here why she's in your driveway honking the horn to get your attention.
More than however many times she says.
And I'm not arguing about it. What I'm saying is they're two big dogs she's afraid of, and they're on the loose. Well, that's what I'm finding. So I hope that instead of arguing with me, find a way to talk to your neighbor. Find a way to talk to your neighbor. Don't argue with me. You've got to deal with each of your animals. You got to deal with each other. You both want to stay where you are. Sounds like nice places. So find a way to talk to your neighbor, to find some even ground. You don't have to enjoy each other's company, but let's get beyond this. And so as I've said, Dispute Resolution Center is a really good outfit to help folks talk who feel like they can't talk anymore. You may be very surprised. They do work in this court every week, helping people settle disputes and small claims. And it's amazing what they're able to do. Truly amazing. And so I really recommend, you'll both be happier, and you want to be happier where you live. And you want the dogs happy, and you don't want anyone afraid of your dogs other than, burglars. But you don't want your neighbors afraid of using the area and using their property. And you don't want your dogs, anybody's dogs, to be endangered by another dog. If the corgi's corgis may be small, but they're scrappy. So I don't want anybody's dogs to get hurt. But that's where we are. The issue is trying to communicate about these dogs. It's not harassment. So
she can reach out to you.
All of you can talk, I hope.
No, we'll be back.
You don't have to talk to each other, but then you never get anywhere. So that's it for today. I hope you find a way, and that's one avenue, is Dispute Resolution Center. You can contact them and see if there's something they can help you with.
I'm more than willing for that, Your Honor, because it's for the sake of all the animals.
There you go. So you got at least one opening there, maybe. And you can be on your way. And I just wish you good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So long.
Wow. All right. So Michelle and Misty, you've got to wrap up your game here real quick. The circle's closing and the extraction point is ready. So I think she's playing Call of Duty. Michelle has just watched the entire show today and loved it. The circle behind her with the Indian headdress says, "Stay wild, native child," which would explain why she's got a lot of dream catchers on the wall. I hope Misty won her Fortnite. I'm thinking Roblox. I'm going Roblox now. definitely not Call of Duty. Her eye movement isn't moving fast enough for that. I'm thinking it's Roblox.
Other memorial, I think I missed. So I'm looking to make sure I got all the information in there. I forget which one it was even. Johnston, Peters. The other one, they didn't appear, right? Nobody showed up. Got me that one. Thanks.
Misty? Do you think Misty and Michelle are going to duke it out, or do you think they're two separate cases?
All right, so we're now down to Ms. Torres and the two requests for protection orders that you filed. And I'm going to take up first 25-59. So first off, Ms. Torres, let me put you under oath. So raise your right hand with me. And you don't have to stand up, Ms. Torres, because given Zoom, I can't see your face. And all right, just thanks. So Ms. Torres, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right. And then I do have Ms. Spear. When I put you under oath, but I got you, you need to unmute. Raise your right hand, Ms. Spear. And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. So first I'm going to take up, Ms. Torres, your request against Elizabeth Van Tiem. She's not present. And again, before I get going, I should make it clear to both parties here that I'm looking here, I'm looking there, I'm looking up here. I've got surfaces here that have my electronic court files and all that information. And so, do you forget something? Ooh, look around, feel free. There you go. And I want you to know I'm listening to you, but I'm looking at what was filed and all the information, but I am listening just so you know why I'm looking all over the place. Let me get that information open though here before we get going here. All right, so first taking up the request for an order against Elizabeth Van Tiem, which there was a temporary order issued under case 2559. Ms. Torres, were you able to serve notice of today's hearing on Ms. Van Tiem?
I had handed this notice to be served to her to the Thurston County Sheriffs. They had gone up there. They received a hostile mail. And then they weren't able to serve on her because they couldn't find her, and they were going to try again. But then a hostile male had called the Thurston County Sheriff's Office, going off on him. So at this point, I'm not sure what to do, and nobody feels safe going up there.
So
nobody wants to go up there.
All right. So you haven't been able to serve notice, so doesn't have notice of today's hearing. So it's up to you what you want to do. So either the order ends today and we don't go forward, or I set another court date, the order stays in effect, and you attempt further service so we can have a full hearing. What do you want to do?
I think I would like to continue with another court date and still continue to try to have her served in the most safest means possible. Because I'm not trying to get anybody hurt.
We're going to talk about a new court date, and I'm looking at the 31st of March. The next time. Are you available then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so March 31 starts
Michelle,
at 9 o'clock. Expect to be here
for
the day. Let's make a note here.
I see a nose ring, and I've never had a desire to get a nose ring, but I think of how painful it was to like pull out a nose hair once for me, and I see people with nose rings must have like superhuman pain tolerances. Because I cried like a baby, and I sneezed some too.
All right, it's March 31st, 9 o'clock. We'll be back, and that gives you that time. And we will re-email you the service packet. Sorry. And then you can take it from there.
See, it hurts.
Then let me move on then to Ms. Spear. Let me get that case open, and we can hear from both parties. 2560 is what we're taking up now. Ms. Torres's request for an order against Ms. Spear. There has not been a temporary order issued in this matter. And I do see. So Ms. Spear, it looks like you did on March 4th. Just last week you received, did you get notice of this hearing? You got the petition, all the things that Ms. Torres is saying. You got all that, it looks like. Last week?
Yes.
Okay. And so first off, Ms. Torres, are you prepared to present in this hearing today to go forward?
I am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Ms. Spear, you're ready to go forward today?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Let's do this.
Now,
Please
let me
tell me it's
just
not about
reevaluate, as I've had lots of hearings. I've reviewed all of this last week, but I always like to re-review so I remember exactly and remind myself of the questions I may have.
I've had the humidifier running for a while now. There's a lot of moisture around the toilet seat. I remember I went to a friend's house once and had to use their facilities, and there was a sign up on the wall that said, "If you sprinkle when you tinkle, be a sweetie and wipe the gosh dang seat." So I thought that was a little passive aggressive, but there you go.
All right. So, Ms. Torres, why don't you tell me what it is that you want this order against Ms. Spear, and you have to establish unlawful harassment committed by Ms. Spear against you. You can detail that out for me.
Good luck, Ms. Torres.
Well, I met her about 6 years ago, but anytime that there has been a conflict, there has been, like, if we're at a public place or an event, I've had like several people come up to me and tell me that she wanted to harm me, have me my butt kicked. There's one point, and every time she's come up to me and said several times that she wanted to kick my butt, but she didn't want to go to jail.
So she have somebody else do it?
Time frames more recently. Obviously, a more recent event occurred that caused you to come to court on around February 26th. It's kind of started all this.
Yes.
And I did read the report, or not report, but all of the information you filed on the other case, and they're kind of intertwined. But tell me.
Well, they are friends. I fear retaliation even since the order. She was not involved in the physical altercation, but it was at her house. She did not get up to restrain her friend or to assist me to get help. They told me not to call the police. They did not call the police. They just sat there and watched this all happen. Her and her friend. I don't know the friend's name. He goes by a different name. That's not his legal name. But I mean, I don't feel safe around her. She is also my supervisor at work, so she's in a position of power to retaliate against me. And
this might be,
I mean, regardless of how this turns out, I'm keeping my distance away from all of that. But I don't feel safe, and I've had several.
Tell me about what happened that night when you were assaulted by, you're asserting by Ms. Antium. Tell me kind of step by step.
Well, I was like, Michelle had invited me to her house, and another friend of mine, she told me not to go, that she just had a bad vibe, but I didn't listen. And so I go to their house, and I had just made a drink And I come out the kitchen and her friend had raised up against me and started punching me to the ground. I just had knee surgery 2 weeks prior to that, so I was trying to protect my knee. It hurt when I had initially injured my knee. I didn't want to go through that again. I was trying to do what I could. I got to the ground, but I was still being punched several times.
And then while that was going on, you're asserting what?
While that was going on, I did call 911 and my phone was knocked out of my hands by Miss Van Team, and they were telling me not to call the police. I had no choice. I couldn't get the woman off of me. No one was trying to get the woman off of me. So I mean,
you're asserting Miss Spear, though, that Miss Spear did not intervene, and she should have.
Not in any way, no.
Okay. And then, so you are able to call 911, and then what happens next?
They knocked the phone out of my hands. And I was still being punched. When I was able to get free, I grabbed my phone, grabbed my purse, and ran out the front door to the nearest stop sign because I don't know my way around that area. And then I called the police again.
Run to a stop sign.
Because my phone call was disrupted.
Okay. What, bad connection, or it was disrupted?
They knocked my phone out of my hand. And
I know, but you left the residence and you called 911, and then what happened?
They came, and I was already outside, so I didn't need their assistance, but.
Okay. So then what did you do after you talked to the sheriff or whoever it was that responded?
My roommate came and got me, and I came home.
Okay. All right. At some point did you go receive treatment or something, or?
I went about I want to say about 8 hours later, the same day, to St. Pete's.
Right. And then since that time, and that was sometime around February, third week in February, right? You filed this on Wednesday, February 26th. So that happened.
I believe it happened the 22nd.
Okay. All right. So then, since that occurred, anything else with Ms. Spear?
Please tell us about work.
There's not been no communication between us at all.
There has not been no communication. Which
so you
means
say
there
that
has been
she supervises you at work. Have you not been to work, or what's going on there?
I'm still out on L&I. I'm still healing from knee surgery now.
Okay.
I will. I'm supposed to be released at the end of the month, but I don't know for sure if that's going to happen just yet.
Okay.
Where do you work?
And have you talked with higher ups about this order, and you're asking that your supervising person not have contact with you? Have you talked to?
I have contacted our HR. They told me to let them know how this case goes, but regardless if this goes through or not, I will be moving on to a different company.
So consider this as 2 weeks
I don't
notice.
feel that we can work together after something like this has happened.
So before this February 22nd event, can you tell me anything about your relationship with Ms. Spear and what I should consider?
It's usually gone pretty friendly, but sometimes misunderstandings happen amongst friends sometimes, and things go back and forth, or they just may disagree with my actions or their actions. This is the last step I ever thought I would ever have to take with Ms. Spears.
So in the 6 years you've known her, has she been your supervisor the whole time?
No, just with the last year.
Okay, so
we're
known for 6 years.
Yeah.
And then, so in that time, anything of this nature, or anything else I should know about in that 6 years about your relationship with Ms. Spear? Anything that would add to your petition or my understanding?
Just one other incident where, we were at a gathering. It's in there. At least I hope I put it in there. We were at a party that all of us were at, and I stayed away from them, and they had mostly stayed away from me. But then we've got people coming up that they're going to jump you. And when I go to leave, she comes up and talks to me and literally told me she wanted to kick my butt, but she didn't want to go to jail. My roommate, Alex Bedford, heard this and saw this. And that's the first time that Elizabeth tried to assault me then, too. And somebody had intervened.
So what occurred in your understanding? Why did all of a sudden Ms. Spear come to you and say that she wants to harm you? What was going on there?
I decided that prior to that I did, that I didn't want to be friends with her at that point.
So, and where did this and when did this occur? I'm remembering
that incident was about a year and a half ago, almost maybe 2 years ago.
Okay, so maybe 2023.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and where were you?
We were in Rochester. It wasn't a bar. It was just a public gathering.
Okay, so someone's house or?
No, it was at an event place.
Okay, so there's a gathering.
Yeah.
And so how is it? So then at this gathering, you went to Ms. Spear and said, I don't want to be friends with you.
No, before that.
Before that gathering. All right. So
I checked the no box.
Tell me about that and how it transpired that
no.
now she's at that gathering telling you that she wants to harm you. Tell me kind of step by step what happened.
We were just all at the gathering, and me and my roommates stayed with each other, and we mostly stayed apart. And then when we go to leave after hearing, like, I had more than one person come up to me, tell me that her, Miss Van Team, and another woman named Debbie Ferrer were gonna have me jumped before I leave. So I asked my roommate if we could leave because this is, that's not what I want to happen. That's not what I came out for. And as I'm going to leave, she comes to address me and say, tell me that I belittle people, that I'm mean to people, and that she wanted to kick my butt, but she didn't want to go to jail.
All right. And so this was a couple of years back. So,
please tell us where you work so I can never go there.
And anything else about those previous 3 or 4 years? I mean, it out of the blue, all of a sudden, you're telling me this person wants to.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's mostly gone extremely peaceful. So this is what shocked and hurt me the most about the event that happened on February 22nd. I never would have expected this out of her. And I don't want to take these steps against somebody, but I have to be here for my children and my grandchildren. I have a life outside of all these people that people count on me. And I want to be there. I don't want to be involved in fights. I don't want to be assaulted. I would like to live my life.
Can you help me understand, though, your understanding, your perspective on this? Why? Why in 2023 did this assertion that Ms. Spear wants to harm you? Why? Or is it a complete mystery to you? Or what is it? Why are you?
To me, it is a complete mystery, but she may have a reason.
Okay.
That I am not aware of, but
I'm going to turn to Ms. Spear, and I'm wondering, what do you think I'm going to hear from her perspective?
I really don't know because, from like other people, I believe that me and her were friends, but then they're telling me that she thinks that I'm brain dead, that I do this, that I do that. So I don't know what you're going to hear because she's one person to me in my face and she's totally different when I'm not around.
So these are things you heard from others, but not from her.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And have you ever had a discussion with Ms. Spear before all this happened about a friendship?
I have tried, but I didn't want to hurt her feelings, and I never got a straight answer, or it gets deflected. Okay. I don't even want to be going through this with her because I think she is a good person, but maybe we just don't make good friends.
Okay.
But now that she's in my supervisor in a position that, she could be upset about this. And if we have to go to work like tomorrow together, she could choose not to work me. And this is a terrible situation that has happened because she's in a place of where she's friends with the other person. I'm just a newcomer, so I'm expendable. And that's fine, but I just want to be safe from all parties that are involved.
Does Ms. Van Tiem also work with you all?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you said you're the new person. What does that mean?
They've known each other for years. I just met them 6 to 5 years ago.
Where do you work? Please.
They've known each other for decades.
Okay. Great.
Judge's face. She's like, whoa.
All right. Ms. Torres, anything else before I hear from Ms. Spear?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So Michelle Spear,
Yes.
there's this temporary order in effect. I'm sorry, there is no temporary order in effect, but there's a request that this court do that. And you've had a chance to review all that and hear today from Ms. Torres. So what should I know from you? I would presume you don't want me to issue this order. So what should I know?
Well, no, I've known Misty for about 6 years. And during this time, we've been friends. We've done events together. I've had her kids and her at my house for dinners. She's came to my home for holidays. I've never once ever threatened Misty at all. I've actually been her friend when nobody's wanted to be around Misty because she's kind of a hard person to get along. She has a different personality that people don't understand. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Well, can you tell me about this February 22nd allegation?
Okay, so I had took my sister out to go do karaoke across at Emperor's Palace.
Of course.
And it was getting kind of late. It was like 11 something. And we're coming back, me, Sarah, Elizabeth, and my friend Frank. We're coming back to the house. Elizabeth wanted to stop by.
So is Elizabeth your sister?
No, Sarah Monier is my sister.
Okay, got it. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
And we stopped by the sampan, and my sister wanted to sing some more, which, was fine. And Misty was there, and I said hi to her, gave her a hug. We were talking. Then her and Elizabeth were outside in the smoking area, talking about their issues that they had. And I thought everything was fine. It was closer to about 1:15, somewhere around there. And there had been a fight that broke out at the sampan with other people. And I told them, I want to go. I don't like to be around stuff like that.
And probably cut in line at the karaoke.
There was somebody out in the parking lot of the sampan shooting a gun in the air.
Whoa.
Well, I got kind of freaked out because my sister, I take care of her, and I wanted to leave. Misty said she had to wait for a Uber or for someone to come and get her. I said, just, get in our car or go with us. Have them come pick us up. I don't want you standing out here. Who knows what's going to happen. We get to the house. I'm on the phone calling to check on my other friend to make sure she got out of there. And then her and Elizabeth and Misty were fighting. So me, Sarah, and Frank tried to break it up. I had scratches on me from trying to break up their fight. My sister got hurt. She had bruises on her arm. And remind you, my sister has a learning disability and has breast cancer. I never told Miss. We're trying to break up.
Ms. Torres is saying that nobody helped and she was just getting beaten. But you're saying that you and another person and your sister tried to do what? What did you try to do to help?
Pull them apart. Pull her off.
Okay, so what part of that were you? What were you doing?
I was over the top of Misty. I got hit a couple times from Elizabeth when she hit her.
Okay, so you were over the top of Misty, did you say?
Like leaning over, trying to push Elizabeth back.
Okay.
Trying to push her off of her. Misty had fell back too and hit the chair, and then she got up, and we had to grab Elizabeth off of Misty, and then Misty took off outside. And my sister's here would like to talk to her also.
So you were successful in getting Elizabeth restrained?
Yeah, the cops, we did.
And what about the cops? What happened?
They did come in and we did a report and we told them what happened. And Misty went outside. She did go outside and wait for them.
All right. When the cops came, who was there?
All of us.
Who went with the
What's
cops
all of
when
us
the cops
mean?
left?
Who?
Me, myself, Misty, my
myself,
sister Sarah Monier,
the three of us,
Elizabeth Van Teen, and Frank Noblock.
Okay. So then the cops come and everybody had an opportunity to talk with them and tell them what happened.
Right. And I asked them why Elizabeth wasn't going to go to jail, because I felt that it was wrong. You know, both of them fighting in my house. I thought it was disrespectful to us and embarrassing. I'm upset with both of them for doing that in my home. And I asked the cop why Elizabeth wasn't going to jail, and he had said because Misty wasn't pressing charges.
Okay. Oh, that's a all right. So the police come, everybody talks to them, and then nobody's arrested or taken away, but Misty leaves, or she was back with the police, you're saying?
No, she was outside with the police and she left with Alex.
And left after. All right. So didn't come back into your house.
No.
Okay.
And Elizabeth left also with her daughter. Her daughter come to pick her up.
Since that event, anything but concerning Ms. Torres and you that I should know about from your perspective?
A couple hours after that, I got a text message from Ms. Torres calling me a bad word for letting that happen.
Okay.
And I wrote it on my statement.
You wrote the bad
word. Yep.
And I tried to call her a few times to see if she was okay. And no respond, nothing.
Calling mean like sending a text or a phone call or what?
No, a phone call. I even left her a message. Call me to let me know you're okay.
Okay. And so you say that you called the next day. You got a text or a phone call?
I got a text from her, but I had tried to call her to see if she was okay.
Okay. And then a couple of phone calls with messages and no response after that. And then anything since then and now?
No, nothing.
Okay. Now, you're a supervisor of Ms. Torres now for the last year. Is that so?
Where do you work?
I was, but because of her accident, there's also, she claimed that she got hurt at work, and she hasn't been working, so we let her go. We're union workers. We work for 252 union laborers.
Hang on, 252.
And it's only part-time that they work for the season. So with her being hurt, she's not coming back for this season. She'll have to heal and go back on the list for the union to get another job.
So going way back a couple years, we've heard from Ms. Torres that a couple years ago, you were at a gathering in Rochester and you had, what do you have to say about her perspective on that? What's your perspective on that?
Her and Elizabeth had altercations, and she had altercations with a lot of people. And this is where I talk about being Missy's friend and being there for her when
Tell me about this event. Tell me about that event that she talked about. What's your perspective on that event?
Okay, that was a Halloween party that we went to, and that was at a UMF clubhouse that we went, and she had gotten into it. I was not around the area. They were in the back of the building. Her and Elizabeth got in an argument, and I'm not really too certain what that argument was about. And then when she came around the corner, I told her, I said, well, maybe you should apologize to people instead of acting the way that you act sometimes, Misty. But I never threatened her. I did talk to her about her behavior, because Misty can be kind of a hard person sometimes. She's She can be nice one minute and the next minute she's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know what to expect sometimes when she's drinking.
So why would you think that in that episode that Ms. Torres would interpret that you had said something to the effect of kicking her ass or kicking her butt? Why do you think that would have been heard? Do you have any sense of what you said?
I think that's because I'm friends with them. I'm friends with all of them. I don't, I know a lot of people, and I think it's just because I was friends with them. I mean, at the moment, I'm not even talking with Elizabeth because of all this. I just feel it's ridiculous, and it's not right. All of it, it's not right. And as far as Misty, I never threatened her. I mean, I had concerns of her, I'm not a counselor, but Misty needs some counseling, and I told her that sometimes she can be nice. Other times she's lost with herself and she needs some help with that, but she takes it out on others.
So you think you've known each other for 6 years. So anything previous to what we talked about, that gathering at Rochester, any other issues, any other occasions that you and Ms. Torres have had an argument or anything that I should know about?
No, we hung out as friends. We've done other events. She was just at my house just the other day before that and brought me and my daughter and my sister earrings and jewelry that she had made for Christmas and wasn't able to give it to us because we had just moved back to town. So she came over to my house and brought us that. And before that,
sometime in early after Christmas, sometime before the February 22nd event.
A couple days before the 20.
Okay.
Just recently, yeah. Her and her daughter came to my home.
Okay. All right. So anything else, Ms. Spear?
No, I just don't feel that I need a protection order. I'm not here to harm Misty.
Well, you're not the one who's asking for it. Ms. Torres is asking for a protection order against you. So
I know.
Yeah. So anything about that request by Ms. Torres is what we're dealing with today. Anything more from you?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right. Let me just kind of look through. You filed a couple of things here, and I've read them before now, but I just want to look through again, see if I have any other questions. So give me a moment.
So Misty and Michelle were watching the dog neighbors duke it out in court. They're like, "Oh yeah, judge, hold my beer. Wait till you see." No, this is wild. It all boils down to communication. It's like people don't learn how to talk to each other if they have a disagreement. You can still talk to each other. You don't have to go nuclear every time you disagree with somebody. Does Misty really have grandchildren? Is that what she said? And they work for 252, the local labor union. That cannot be Walmart. Walmart doesn't do unions, right? Like they might, I'm thinking, set up chairs at conventions.
So, Ms. Torres, Ms. Spear, I am not issuing an order against Ms. Spear. There is not sufficient evidence to show that she has committed unlawful harassment against you in all the information that was filed before the court and all the discussion we've had today. So, Ms. Torres, you'll make a decision about who you have spent time with, and certainly Ms. Spear, but there will not be an order of protection for you from Ms. Spear. And we will be back, I think 31st of March for that next hearing, Ms. Torres, when we take up the temporary order that was issued on your behalf against Ms. Ventium.
Okay.
Elizabeth.
All right. So, Ms. Spear, that's all for today. You can be on your way, Ms. Torres, as well. That's it.
Alrighty. Fun times in Thurston County, Washington. I think Misty still is probably sitting in that same chair right now, halfway through a pickup game. Fortnite. Let's see. What's happening in Lake Forest? Weren't we just in Lake Forest? Nothing going on in Lake Forest right now. Somebody was asking about the new ruling that came out in the Karen Reed case, specifically regarding the media. You're like, what does this mean? What does it mean? The concerns I have, and I sent out a tweet about this a little bit, but let's see, it goes like this. Let me pull it back up so I can talk about the specific part. Okay. Amber, where'd it go? Amber's gone. Okay. Scrolling. Just 1 second. Let me find it. Not that one. Order guiding media. Found it. All right. The specific parts that I think people are worried about is where the judge uses language saying nobody except for the recognized media can live stream and do anything like that. That means that no one except for the people who have followed the court's rule to be in the courtroom and plug and sit in the media section can sit in the media section, and nobody can just come in and just plug into the pool media feed unless they've applied for that. Anyone who's running fair use, commentary, analysis after the fact, it's the same for everybody. The judge is not trying to crack down on First Amendment rights. Now, there is some stuff in here that probably has to be clarified. I think the judge's language was a little overly broad, and it reduces a little access that we had before generally. And it says, let's see. Okay. I think it's part 4. Except as permitted in number 1 and 2 above, no person is permitted to film, photograph, record, stream, transmit, or broadcast court proceedings at any time through photographic or electronic recording devices, including still or video cameras, cell phones, smartphones, tablets, laptops, audio recording or transmitting devices, or any other electronic device with communication capabilities, except as permitted in numbers 1 and 2. No person is permitted to use any electronic device with communication capabilities to submit updates to social media during the proceedings. Except as admitted in 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is the media representatives, the reporters, the journalists, and anyone else claiming status as a journalist. Anyone who comes in with the press badge, from Court TV, Law and Crime to Turtle Boy, and everybody in between who comes in with their press credentials can do that still. She's not talking about us live tweeting something about the trial during it. She can't control that. That's outside of her jurisdiction. But she doesn't want, Karen Reed's family or John O'Keefe's family to be like sending out tweets from the courtroom about what happened, or taking pictures and saying, "Hey, look at this face so-and-so was making." That's what she's trying to crack down on. It doesn't actually change really much of anything about the actual happenings and how it's going to be covered. Oh no, Air Care Medical. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that, Christy. CW, I was on a Lego stream. Since that stream is over, I finished the build I showed it this morning on the live stream. My kids took it all the way apart, and they're nearly done building a mosaic of my cat. So I made a mosaic of Kiki, and they're building it right now. It's the same as the first trial. Yeah, it's not anything different. So every court I've ever requested media access to has one of those in one version or another. Sometimes they have a standing order for media, and you just have to review it and sign it and say, I acknowledge, and I will, and everyone I have hired underneath me will follow these rules. Other times for each hearing, they say, because this is a high-profile case, we're going to, handle the media in this way. But it's pretty much a standard instruction. We haven't had enough questions about jurisdiction today, so we're quadrupling back. We had a few, just a couple. Plane crash Sunday, 30 miles from Lancaster Airport. Door was open on takeoff, landed in retirement home parking lot. Whoa. That's crazy. That's wild. Can you believe what time it is? Can you believe it's already 5:30? The day has flown by. I have not yet torn off. I've got a few days to tear off on the calendar. Let's see, Tuesday, January 14th. Why did the cookie cry? Because his father was away for so long. A wafer. His father was a wafer so long. That's a good one. You got hurt by a rental car? Yeah, it hurts. No, I'm gonna save some of these for the podcast. It's awesome. Jury selection in Thurston going on right now. Is that for our? That's for the one that's coming up, right? I don't think they'll do openings tonight, will they? Well, they might. Let's see. Is it Thurston 3 or Thurston 4?
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
I don't consent. Thurston County Courts.
A mailing address of 86.
We don't need mailing addresses right now. I think this is the wrong court. I think we need let's check the other courtrooms. 3 is not live. 4 is right there. There we go. Thurston County District Court Civil Department's personal meeting. This is jury selection. We've watched a couple courts from here. What court is this one? Who knows what's coming up here? Deanne, do you know the happenings here?
Now, in the context of domestic violence, how many of you recognize that that's bringing another dynamic into the equation? By show of hands.
Don't want to do a domestic violence one, I don't think.
And kind of piggybacking on a question that the state asked earlier, what is the jurors' general consensus
Assault on a police officer?
What domestic violence is? Anyone want to expound a little bit? Juror number 6?
Yeah. Be with each other, whether it's neighbors, family, anyone in their day-to-day life.
And how many of you have siblings? most of you have siblings.
Three doesn't.
Not very many only children in this bunch. And how many of you have ever fought with your sibling?
4 is lying.
And how many of you think that, well, just to kind of expound on that, juror number 2, what happened when you fought with your sibling?
We wrestled and we tumbled.
Okay, we've got one more from Josh.
That disagreement
because we can't hear what's going on in that one. We're going to try one more with a different court. We might go back to that one once the trial starts, but. Okay, let's see if I can get this here. 2 hours ago. I think it's this one. 1 hour ago. Okay, I'm just trying to see which one this is for Josh. Is it the whole thing?
We are just waiting for the system to unmute.
Okay, we'll get started, sir, as soon as you're unmuted.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you.
I'm gonna put him in the waiting room and bring him back in just because I've had issues recently getting it to unmute when coming back from a breakout room. So give me just a minute.
Georgia's APA is just here from the nose up.
You don't have to worry about hitting anything. It should unmute automatically.
Meanwhile, I'm going to pull the finger and see what we get.
I can't hear you, and I'm not supposed to yet. Once it unmutes, I will let you know. If for some reason there continues to be issues, I will. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we can hear you. Let me get the judge. One moment.
The contact representing.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Sorry.
All right.
Judges
You're on the record in the matter of People versus Latavis, Trashad, Thornton. This is case 25-0203-FY, and may I have appearances for the record, please?
George Annette on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Thank you. And?
I'm Melissa Vachon with the Office of the Public Defender. Your Honor, I would note for the record that I am present and I did speak with Mr. Thornton. However, he is declining my representation at this arraignment.
Oh, goody.
Okay. And Mr. Thornton, could you state your name for the record, please?
I will object to being called Mr. Thornton. I am, for the record, my name is Shoulders. I am here as legal representation for Latavis Trashad Thornton, which is a nonprofit organization.
Your Honor, I'm looking at his file from 2022. I think he was sent to competency back in 2022, and it looks like that's going to be the same issue today. It's my understanding that he might have a bench warrant out for his arrest for sentencing. He pled guilty to, I believe, attempted RNO in November 8th of 2022, but he failed to appear in December 2022. And looking earlier in the files, I believe he was sent to competency as well. And it looks like this is going to be the same issue. So if the court is inclined to send him to competency, I'd ask for that.
Objection again, Your Honor.
Everything comes through me. You're going to get your turn, okay? But I have to run this in sort of an organized fashion, in part for you, because if you want to appeal, you want a transcript that is coherent and readable, okay?
I'm sorry. I don't know. Were you speaking to me or
yes, sir, Mr. Thornton. So if you want to appeal, you want.
I just want the record to be correct, and there was no objection. There was no objection to the statement that I made about Mr. Thornton, about Latavius Treshaw Thornton being a nonprofit organization, and I was just objecting the points that the attorney prosecutor made. Okay.
But yes, there aren't objections at arraignment. There aren't objections at arraignment. And I am going to call you Mr. Thornton because that is the name
that you were booked under,
that you have been identified as, and that is the name the charges are under. No, Mr. Thornton. So I mean, the other option is to call you defendant, which is true. You are the person defending yourself, but that sounds kind of rude. So I'd rather call you Mr. Thornton. So I want to make sure that we treat you with as much respect. Here's why we have this hearing. You have, under the Constitution, a Sixth Amendment right to know the charges against you. So we have this hearing for that reason. So I want to make sure that you get all of your rights and know everything that is available to know about this case right now so you can defend yourself. That's the whole purpose today.
I'm on your side.
Give you the information you need so you can defend yourself with or without counsel as you wish, okay? We're going to do 5 things this afternoon. First, I'm going to read the charges against you, including the maximum possible penalties, because you have a right to know them. Second, we're going to talk more about your rights. Then, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. I'll give you the opportunity. Well, no, sir. So just a minute. Okay, so you're going to have the opportunity. You can stand mute or plead not guilty. We'll come to that in a minute, okay? So that's the third thing we're going to do. Then, we're going to talk about dates when you return to court. You're going to get those in writing. Lastly, we're going to talk about bond or bail. Okay? So,
can I please?
Because here's the thing. I don't want to be disrespectful to you.
Right, absolutely.
I know it feels disrespectful, but here's why. Here's my concern. I don't want you to say anything that could come back to haunt you later. So that's why, and this is true of every arraignment I do, I tell people right at the beginning, if you try to speak, I'm going to shut you down. And it's not to be disrespectful, and it's not because the case has already been decided. It's to protect your innocence and your interest going forward. So for that reason, I'm going to do most of the talking here.
We're just worried about your innocence.
That's fine, Your Honor. I'm fine with you doing most of it. But please, to protect my free speech, could you please not mute me? I have no intentions of disrespecting your courtroom. If I speak out of turn, could you just simply let me know? And okay. I am aware that I am innocent until proven guilty, and that something I say could, like you said, come back and haunt me.
He's reading himself his rights.
I'm well aware of that for Latavius Treshaw Thornton. However, I do still need to express correctly, and if I'm capable of settling this matter now, why can't we do that? I have more than just the Sixth Amendment right. I I have a plethora of rights that are granted to me from God, the Human Declaration, from the Constitution, and so forth. There's a plethora of rights that have been granted onto me. So I don't just want to rely on the few far in between. I would like to rely on all my rights and abilities, and if possible, take care of all these matters in the most dignified and respectful way to keep the court's dignity and my dignity as a man. And furthermore, as a preservation of my innocence, I would like, until proven guilty, I believe that is pertinent that the innocent factor be imminent here.
Absolutely. So here's what I'm going to tell you.
So be quiet.
And I tell this to everyone at this stage. The most important thing I can tell you this afternoon is that you are innocent. You are innocent unless you remain innocent unless at some point you plead guilty or are found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. And I say unless for a reason, because it's different than until. Until means something's going to happen sooner or later, right? We'll be here until Saturday. Saturday is going to happen. Unless means we don't know what's going to happen. And in your case, we don't know what's going to happen. You haven't seen the evidence. Okay, I'm going to keep going through this and then I'll acknowledge you in just a minute. You haven't seen the evidence.
Okay.
No attorney has seen the evidence. The court hasn't seen the evidence. So you remain innocent unless you plead guilty or are found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. And now I'm going to read the charges against you because you have a right to know them. Okay, you can't really defend yourself unless you know what you're accused of. Maybe you remember being a little kid and going to the principal's office and not knowing what you might be in trouble for. No? Okay. Well, you were probably a better little kid than I was. But I'm going to read the charges against you. It's going to take some time reading all the way through them.
Before you get to reading, can I make one statement, please?
Well,
Your Honor?
No.
You can, but let me read through these first, okay? Let me read through these first because I want to make sure I cover everything. The other thing is judges use scripts. And the reason we use scripts is to make sure everyone gets all of the information and to make sure we treat everyone the same.
I'm aware of that, Your Honor. And that is why I feel it necessary for me to make certain things known for Latavius Treshaw Thornton, for that the script can, so we can stay in honor. Once again, I have no intentions on dishonoring the courts. I'm even here to surrender all of the interests of Latavius Treshaw Thornton to the courts. I have those full intentions, and so that you guys can be safe from all liability of Latavius Treshaw Thornton as his representation. That is the only reason why I speak in the way of please refrain from calling me Mr. Thornton and certain things, because it's pertinent for you guys to know I've already been treated as the surety. I am not the surety. I'm really Shoulders. Like, if you guys meet my people, you will find out I'm really Shoulders. Latavius Treshaw Thornton is really a nonprofit organization, and I am not a surety for it. And it is a company, and it does not profit. So with that information, I understand that the script goes a little different, and I understand that. I have the right to let it be known that I'm not the surety and nobody has, I'm sorry. And
okay. All right.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
here's
Your Honor.
Here's the thing. That's okay. That's not an issue. So here's the thing. I don't know if you remember when a guy named Mitt Romney was running for president some time ago. And he said,
he didn't win.
And he really upset people with this. He said, corporations are people, my friend. And a lot of people made fun of him, but corporations are people. So that LLC would be a person in the eyes of the law, but a person does not become an LLC. But regardless, we're going to read these charges because you have a right to know them. So in count 1, you are accused of police officer assaulting, resisting, and obstructing. And the specific allegation is that on or about March 9th, 2025, at Carey Street and Lake Lansing Road in the city of Lansing, zip code 48912, You did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Kayla Bevere, a police officer with the East Lansing Police Department, that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties, contrary to Michigan law MCL 750.81D1. This is a felony, punishable by up to 2 years in prison and or $2,000 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement, or under MCL 750.81D6 for another violation arising from the same transaction. In count 2, you are accused of assaulting, resisting, or obstructing a police officer, again, on or about March 9th, 2025, at Cary Street and Lake Lansing in the city of Lansing, zip code 48912. Specific allegation is that you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Chris Shattuck, a police officer with the East Lansing Police Department that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties, contrary to Michigan law MCL 750.81D1. This is, again, a felony, punishable by up to 2 years in prison and or $2,000 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement, or under MCL 750.81D6 for another violation arising from the same transaction. Lastly, in count 3, you are accused of, again, assaulting, resisting, or obstructing a police officer. And the specific allegation is that on or about March 9, 2025, at Cary Street and Lake Lansing Road in the city of Lansing, zip code 48912, you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Colin Lemire, a police officer with the East Lansing Police Department, that you knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties, contrary to MCL 750.81D1. This is, again, a felony, punishable by up to 2 years in prison and or $2,000 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement, or under MCL 750.81D6 for another violation arising from the same transaction. And this is alleged against the peace and dignity of the people of the state of Michigan. Now we're going to talk about your rights. You have the right to an attorney, and today Attorney Vachon is standing by. If you can't afford an attorney, the court will provide one for you, and we have superb public defenders in this court. That said, you can hire any attorney you wish. You would have to pay them, but you could choose whomever you wish. Now, there is an option for you to represent yourself, and we'll talk about that more at a future court hearing, okay? You have the right, as this case goes forward, to have these charges heard at a trial. And at that trial, the prosecutor would have to bring evidence against you. You could question that evidence, and you could question any witnesses the prosecutor called. You could call your own witnesses. And if they didn't want to appear, the court could issue a subpoena and the court could make them appear. At a trial, you could testify on your own behalf, or you could remain silent. And if you remain silent, no one could use that silence against you. At a trial, you could bring any evidence you wished, or you could just sit there, because it's the prosecutor's job to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And perhaps most importantly, and you know this one, this is your Fifth Amendment to the Constitution, you have a right against self-incrimination. And that means no one can do anything that forces you or tricks you into making yourself guilty. Now, how do you wish to plead?
Before?
I don't. You said a lot, so can I address them part for part first?
No, not right now. So here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna enter. I'm gonna enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and here's why.
Can I ask you this first? Before you enter that plea? If me giving you a plea right now, will that be in response to everything that you just said?
Nope. So a plea would have you pleading. Would have you pleading guilty guilty to all those charges. We've got some back and forth here. It kind of sounds like we're underwater. So a plea would have you pleading guilty to those crimes, 3 felonies, without having seen the evidence against you. So you can stand mute and the court enters a not guilty plea, or you can say you want to plead not guilty and you'll be not guilty. Then what happens next, and here's why, then you have a chance to get the evidence against you and to consider it. And I think that's what you want to do, because that is your hard-fought constitutional right, among other things.
It's a bit more to it, Your Honor. That's the issue. So based off of the things that you stated, that's not what my understanding is. From my understanding is I was attacked by some people and I was protecting.
Sir, I know you don't want my representation, but I would advise.
No, ma'am.
I would advise that you not talk about anything that happened.
Please don't, ma'am. I appreciate that. I'm aware of where you're going at, but I'm aware. Like I said, me and the judge, I told her something that I might say could come back to haunt me. I'm already aware of that. So thank you so much, Miss Melissa, but please do not intervene. But once again, back to you, Your Honor. From my understanding, I was assaulted, and I am shoulders. Once again, I have never told anyone. Wait, I don't want you to mute me, Judge. This is going back to the situation. Okay, thank you. I have never told anyone that I am Latavius Trayshawn Thornton. Not one time. I have reiterated. I am shoulders, Latavius Trayshawn. Not just to you, Your Honor. That's so to be redundant for the record. Okay. I have reiterated that Latavius Trayshawn Thornton is a nonprofit organization. I am not a surety. I am shoulders. I am appointed to be an administrator for Latavius Trayshawn Thornton. No, that's why I'm here, but not a surety for Latavius Trayshawn Thornton. Furthermore, Your Honor, my understanding is I was attacked and assaulted, and I'm not sure if I could let that be known to you so that we can make that case come about, because I would like to seek forward that using the evidence from all the evidence that they have gathered. I would like to use it in my assault case against East Lansing Police Department and its agencies.
Okay, so we have a couple different options here. First, the court is going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, so you can pursue that at a hearing where we can bring in evidence and that sort of thing, okay? Secondly, you have other options. You can also, you could investigate a civil suit against the City of East Lansing Police Department. There's a police oversight commission. So those are still available to you. Right now, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea so you can get the evidence to proceed. All right. Now, next up, we have some dates when you're going to return to court. And let me just pull those up here. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to speak on my previous court history and let you know why it may look the way it looks.
Okay, no, here's the thing. I'm going to ask you to not say anything because I don't want to accidentally become biased. Gotcha. So here are the dates. All right, you're going to come back for a probable cause conference at 8:30 a.m. March 21st. Now you're going to get this in writing, okay? 8:30 March 21st, and a preliminary exam. You're going to get this in writing too at 9 a.m. March 27th. Now, my best advice would be to speak with Attorney Vachon because she can explain how you pursue those things. Now, we're going to move on for a moment to bond.
It kind of broke up at the end. I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're going to move on to bond or bail. So, would you like to be released on bond or bail?
Could you explain the difference to me, please?
Your Honor, I was going to ask for a bond. People have.
We're going to let Mr. Anid go first. All right, Mr. Anid.
Yeah, the people are looking at MCL 765.6. Some of the factors to
now
consider.
You're cutting out. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If you said something like that, would it make you biased? Could you be speaking to make you biased?
Well, I'm going to come back to you in just a minute. Okay.
Okay. No problem.
All right, Mr. Nid. I'm sorry you were cutting out, but please.
Your Honor, the people are looking at some of the factors to consider bond. The people are asking for at least a $25,000 cash surety and GPS tether if he does post bond. We're looking at the seriousness of the offense charge, the protection of the public, the previous criminal record, and the dangers of the person accused, the probability or improbability of the person accused appearing at trial of the cause. All those factors are not in favor of the defendant, Your Honor. He failed to appear for sentencing in, I believe, circuit court. And again, Your Honor, if the court has updated lien, if you can see if he has a warrant from a couple years back, that's for pleading for attempted resisting and obstructing, is what my note indicates. Protection of the public, Your Honor. This case involves assault on officers. I think one officer got punched in the face. The previous criminal record, he has four criminal histories from 4 different states, Your Honor, pending from.
Okay, no, he's going to get it, then I'll hear from you, okay?
And his probability. Your Honor, lastly, he failed to appear for several years on sentencing. He's not going to appear for this case if he gets released. I just asked for a high bond and a GPS tether if he posts that bond. There's a lot of risk to the public in this case. And obviously he has ties to Indiana, Kentucky, Georgia, and one other state, Your Honor.
By ties, you mean warrants?
Thank you.
Okay, now.
Before we get to the bond,
okay, I'm going to give you a chance, but here's the thing. Because there are certain key words, because there are specific things attorneys ask for, do you want Attorney Vachon to address this on your behalf? Because she's really good at this. I will tell you, she's really good at this.
Can I say some things to Attorney Vachon before I make that determination? Right.
Yes, Your Honor. Could we take a brief recess and I could have a breakout room?
Okay, so you're going to be in a breakout room with just Attorney Vachon. Then we're going to come back. Nobody's going anywhere until after you've had a chance to come back. Okay. One moment, please. We'll put you in a breakout room. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. They're going to go talk this over for a minute. We're going to skip ahead. I don't think it'll take too long. Here we go. Yeah, that went about as well as you thought.
Are we ready, Melissa, or are you ready? Okay, I'll bring him back in, and then once he's back in and unmuted again, I'll get the judge.
Might take a minute. I think it took a minute to bring. Oh, no, he's quick. Sort of.
All right, I'm going to give it a moment to unmute again. So please just sit tight. And then once you're unmuted, the judge will be in. Oh, she's ready.
We hear nothing. 8, 7, 6, 5.
Judge, you are also muted.
2, 1,
oh.
0.
Both of you are unmuted.
Now we're unmuted. Mr. Anid, are you coming back?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Mr. Anid has spoken. I'm going to start with Attorney Vachon. Attorney Vachon, anything from the breakout room?
No, Your Honor. The defendant will speak for himself.
Okay. Sir, please proceed.
Okay, Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Thornton is not a flight risk he has multiple properties in the Michigan and the Lansing area that keeps him here. Also, he has a lot of things he do here. He's a coach for 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade basketball teams, and they play year round. He's also a mentor to young children and to people who have had traumatic situations. They call on a daily. He's a counselor to the community and to the public. Furthermore, he's not a danger to the community or based off of his innocence, and he's not a threat to anyone in the society. He is actually beneficial Mr. Thornton is actually a beneficial role in the community, and kids and multiple different areas of people, they look up to Mr. Thornton, and they will attest to his character as an upstanding, nonviolent, peaceful individual who brings smiles and love to the community. And he, once again, may I reiterate, is not a flight risk. Yes, he has ties to other places, but those ties are not as pertinent as to the ties of where he originally was born and reside and has grown as a part of this community in a very effective way.
Okay, thank you. That's very well said. Sounds like Mr. Thornton really has a lot of good qualities. Okay, so I am looking at the file, and I want you to bear with me a bit. There was a song when I was younger. When I was in high school, there was a popular song that said, "Cruel to be kind." Okay, so I'm looking at this, Mr. Thornton, and there's a warrant out of 30th Circuit Court downtown, East Lansing. Okay.
Yes.
And this is from 2022. And it's a statewide pickup, no bond with extradition. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set.
That means
I'm going to come back to that in just a minute. I'm going to set a money bond of $10,000 because all of the days that you don't post that bond, you will get credit for the time. If I gave you a cash bond, what would happen is Ingham County would pick you up on this old warrant and hold you until that case was resolved. By setting a cash bond on this, you get credit for the days you're in. Then, when that's resolved or close to being resolved, I will reconsider the bond amount. We call that making a bond motion, and I'll entertain that. But right now, this is cruel to be kind, okay? I know it's not what you want, but having been around the law long enough, this means they're going to keep you in custody for some time. So I want to be sure that you get something for it. Now, I'm going to put some other conditions on the bond for when you're able to bond out. And you're going to get these in writing, but I need to read them to you, and they need to be part of this record. So if you want to appeal, it's all here for you so they can evaluate whether I did this right or not. So number one, if you post bond, you may not leave the state of Michigan without prior permission from this court. Number two, you are presumed innocent, but the court says we have to tell you this right now. You may not commit any crime while released. Doesn't mean I think you're going to, but you have a right to know that. Number three, you must immediately notify this court in writing of any change of address or telephone number. Then you must not use alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal controlled substance. If you have any medications, you must take all medications as prescribed. Do you have a medical marijuana card, sir?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a medical marijuana card?
Mr. Thornton does not know.
Okay, so may not use marijuana at any time and may not apply for a medical marijuana card without prior permission from this court. May not possess or purchase a firearm or other dangerous weapon. May not use any object as a weapon. May not engage in any harassing, violent, threatening, or stalking behavior toward anyone. May not have any contact with Kayla Bevere, Chris Shattuck, or Colin Lemire. Can't use have anyone else contact them. Can't use any social media to look them up or try to contact them. Okay?
I don't have social media.
All right. Now, you must contact pretrial services by 4 p.m. on the day you're released from custody. All right. Anything further, Attorney Vachon?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further, Attorney Anid?
Yeah. So did you? I must have misheard. Was there a dollar amount to the cash bond?
10,000.
10,000 cash charity.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And then lastly, did you? Was the GPS ordered if he was released? If not,
that's not necessary.
No. Okay. Just a minute. All right. I'm just going to answer his question. No, I'm looking at the circuit court bond, which no, it was not. Okay. Now, sir, What would you like to say?
First and foremost, how much you said that if for each day that the bond isn't posted, there would be the credit amount. I'm not. I just want to throw this out there for Latavius Thornton. Once again, he accepts that offer for the credit amount to be $1,000 a day, and furthermore, he accepts other offers from the prosecuting attorney's office if they are willing to go day by day with Mr. Thornton, and if he's incarcerated.
Well, that's good to know, but that's not on the table just yet. Okay, and so what happens is you get credit for time in this case with that bond amount. Otherwise, if I were to give you what's called a PR bond to say you can go, then you wouldn't get any credit for this time while you're waiting for that old case to be resolved. So, okay. So you're going to receive all of this in writing, and we will see you back 8:30 a.m. March 21st. Okay. And you want to discuss with Attorney Vachon what a probable cause conference, or Attorney Foreman.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
There was no application for public defender submitted. So at this time, there will be no counsel with him. Now, if Mr. Thornton changes his mind at any point, he can always apply for the public defender's office. But at this point, I'm unable to submit an application for an attorney.
Okay. Well, I would just ask you to consider. Here's the thing. You can apply for it and turn it down later. But if you don't apply, it can stretch things out a lot longer, and you don't want that. Just worth considering. You make your own decision. You certainly have every right to make your own decision, but I would just, if my beloved baby nephew, who's not a baby, he's about your age, were in this situation, that's what I'd suggest to him, okay? All right, that is all for this record. Thank you.
Thank you. And Lindsay, could I get a breakout room?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm playing with my kids with all these toys I have on my desk. There we go. $5 says he won't show. So we got, 3 SOV sits today? Back to back to back. Almost. With a little break in between. Have a couple things going on tomorrow. Obviously, we've got Minecraft Court that's going to be in session. The gentleman in orange, who's going to represent himself with a standby attorney. There's also that Thurston case going forward. I think that's assault on a police officer as well. And let's see. That's the 11th. What else is happening on the 11th? You love Blacktail Studio? What's Blacktail Studio? I don't know what Blacktail Studio is. Jordy, what are you talking about? What's Blacktail? We've got DaVinci Resolve Studio going. Oh, it's a video that's going to play next on your YouTube. Apparently, I don't think I've ever seen it, but I'll have to take a watch. All right. It is late. It's late. It's after 6 o'clock. My kids are coming in saying it's time to play with them. And they've been playing with all these toys that Amber sent already. So I think the spaceship and the cow have been abducted themselves. So mistrial in Jeffrey Ferguson case. Which one is that? The gentleman in orange is specific. Orange hoodie, not in custody. Minecraft Court. The one we watched earlier this morning. Friday's going to be fun, too. We've got a lot coming on. Is that a diffuser in my corner? It's a toilet. It's like a mini bidet is what it is. See that? It just You open the lid and it just goes. Close it. Open it. It's a USB-powered bidet diffuser toilet or something. Gift from Amber. All right, that's it for today. That's it. Is it poop scent? No, it's just regular water. It comes with 2 filters that look like cigarette filters to clean the water. But Tiffany, glad you got to stay for the longer day. Time change hurts. It does. It does. Hopefully I can get up a little easier tomorrow than I did today. Oh, before we go, I'm sorry. We've got one person who there's a channel. Hang on. I'm gonna turn the music off. Stop the music. Hold the music. We're not done yet. There's a channel. One of our friends here needs some help. Here we go. Hang on. And it's a sad reason. They recently lost, I believe, a stepdad. Is it Jamie? Jamie is trying to load. Hang on, I'm trying. My burner phone is as dead as burner phones can be. Okay. Hang on. Let's see, here we go. Copy this. More. Copy link. There it is. And now I need to bring it up. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to go and subscribe to this channel for one reason only. Jamie, who has a channel, she has 6 subscribers on YouTube. She's trying to live stream the funeral for her stepdad. YouTube requires 50 subscribers before you can live stream. I'm not saying you have to watch all her stuff and everything else. She doesn't have much on there. She's just literally just looking to live stream, and that's it, the funeral. So let me give you a link in chat in just one second. Now I can hear myself. That's awesome. Paste. There we go. If we could just get just 50 of you is all we need to jump over there and give a subscribe there. That would be awesome. It would help her be able to get the level she needs so she can live stream the funeral, and then the family can watch it, and then it would also save the funeral, and that's probably the bigger thing, is that it will preserve the funeral so that other people can watch if they're not able to go at the time. So thank you for that. We like to help out where we can. And now we'll start the music again. Jamie, I'm sorry for the delay. I didn't see that until just later in the day, and then it slipped my mind. So I apologize. Pam Graham, I'm sorry about would have been your dad's 95th birthday. 95. That's cool. She's at 34 now and climbing. That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate all of you for doing that. Thank you. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again tomorrow morning, bright and early. She hit 50. Boom, we did it. Thank Jamie. You came to the right group. You guys are amazing. You're the best. Thank you very much. All right. And having just streamed a funeral over the weekend, I know how important that is for the family and how important that is for you and everything else, how hard this can be. So the best of luck to you and everything. So, all right, that's everything. We are going to now go to sleep. sleep. I feel like we lost an hour. I feel like I lost 10 hours overnight. I'm so tired. We are an amazing bunch of people. Britta, we definitely are. It's all because of you guys. Thank you. All right, have a good one, you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.